that strap right to one of them doors.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to stay down without hooking it.
Is that too far?
That should work, I think.
Is that gonna work for you?
I think so. Okay, I'd like to start out with public comment. You got any public comments? Kim?
I am stating this. This is an email from Barbara Leonard, and she asked me if I would read this. She says, "Dear Board, I want to thank you for thoughtfully considering the budget process this year and making good decisions on the public funds. Especially by agreeing on account numbers, we should have less problems in understanding your expenditures for the park project, capital outlay, and department spending. Additionally, I was pleased that 2 board members were given the responsibility to engage in contract with Garrett Bacher in the use of the beach and parking. This decision to allow those board members to make this agreed upon contract was voted on and approved by the entire board. The owner of the wet spot was generous by providing porta potty for the public to use. I had mistakenly thought Garrett was provided this with the money he was making on this rental. We, the constituents, spent $800 a month during the whole year, not just for the summer months. That previous contract was not of equal value for the community." Barbara Leonard. I do have a question, because is this contract still going on? I thought it was agreed upon that this contract was going to be canceled with Garrett Bacher.
It is, we are contract grade. If it were extended, we get to about the middle of July, but if we don't, then it comes back to June. The old, first original. We'll talk about that later.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Yeah, Burke Cemetery. I don't know, probably a lot of people aren't familiar with it, it's off the beaten path. It was our family cemetery, goes back to 1850 or something like that. A lot of Civil War guys are buried there. We run out of room. The school was taking up the room. I think most people assumed that the Oilers owned it. They were squatters. And when that thing burned down, I went and got the deed on it, and the township owns it. So it would be nice to expand that cemetery. The room is there now, and because, like I say, we run out of room.
So you say the deed says we own where that schoolhouse was now,
The schoolhouse was what?
the burn.
Yeah.
See, I had one of the mazes tell me that. Oh, like you just said, he says, but I think when my mom probably did the agreement with the Oilers, there's probably a handshake and never recorded, but he said the same thing when they either moved it or burnt down. It was supposed to came back to the township, but Oilers get taxed for it still.
Oh, good.
Why don't we get a copy of that deed?
we have
that
Is that
Dan Horrocks had contacted me once about it too and said the same thing, that his mother told him that was supposed to revert back to the township once they were no longer.
your deed says that you got for it?
Pardon me?
Your deed says that on it, that you got?
I give one to you. And it says the township owns it.
I'll get a copy of it. We don't have a copy of it.
Yeah. Actually, we'd like to clean that corner up and
Yeah, and it wouldn't take long. Maybe a little fill in there.
we'll fill
But
match.
the grade's all smoke won't get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you could look into it, I'm
Yep.
not feeling too good, I might go out there, so, no. But you gotta look at it.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I have.
All right, thank you.
My name is Bob Knoll. We recently moved back home here. We grew up here in Crystal Township. If anyone doesn't know, Knoll Park out on the east side of town was dedicated to my brother in 1982. He was killed in Vietnam. And I feel the park got a little bit disrepaired. So joining the Lions Club, we have kind of adopted that as a project, and we're gonna do things to clean it up and fix things up. You might have noticed we've already painted the pavilion, looks a lot nicer. On the 21st and 22nd, we're gonna be painting the dugouts, the yellow facing of the dugouts to make them look a little better, a little more presentable. We did the basketball court, and you see kids out there playing all the time, got a couple basketballs that are there. Our goal for this year, and we've talked about it before, but is put a couple soccer goals out there. And our plan is to put those behind the pavilion to the south. There's a flat area that they will fit in very nice. And I've already talked to, I think it's Mitchell, about the mowing and how that, would be around those goals. And right now, they're about $3,000, and the Lions Club has that money, those funds, to purchase those goals and put them in. Our next plan for next year is to do 9 holes of disc golf. And that'll go around the perimeter of the outside, back by the fence, out of the way of everything. I've got it mapped out of how we're doing. When we get closer to that, I'll present that and how the layout would be to everyone. And that'll be another activity that can go out there in the park. And it's very popular with the kids because it's free, they can go out and do it, and, it doesn't cause any trouble. One thing that I'm looking at is a park sign. Right now, I hear people saying Knoll Park, well, where's Knoll Park? And they say, well, that's out by the park by the fire barns. You have a nice sign down at the community park. Could we get a sign like that that says Bristol Township, Knoll Park, established 1982? And then have it two-sided so it's on the road there, Colby Road, so people coming and going, they know it's Knoll Park. That's just a possibility. One other thing is the drive is always in bad shape. If you go in there, there's potholes, you can't keep it. I'd like to look into the possibility of paving that drive from Colby Road into the parking area and then replacing or graveling the parking area. As you can see, the number of people that are there Monday through Thursday. Saturdays, it's full of pickleball people. So that would improve that and improve the looks. And then I personally, our family, will take care of the flagpole around the stone, the memorial stone, and the bell of getting that landscape so that looks nice coming in. So those are some of the things that we're planning on doing, and I'd like to see the paving the drive, probably $30,000 range. Is probably gonna take a grant, maybe the conservation district, or however we would do that through the conservation fund for those types of grants. It's a possibility if you could help maybe with that to maybe get something going. That's it. Thank you very much, Township, buying the paint for what we're doing. We had volunteers coming to do the work, but thanks for buying the paint.
Thanks for your work, Bob. Roger?
Too bad the guy left on the cemetery, but there's what, 30-some yards to the east of the cemetery right now, which you're farming? What belongs to the cemetery?
East of it.
Yeah. Goes in that big valley
Yeah,
into the east.
when they
towards the
checked with
old
the
orchard.
Mays left it, they said they have to haul a lot of fill in to even get it up to where.
It's worth farm, or worth
Yeah.
cemetery, yeah. Good for farming, but it's good for cemetery.
Anybody else?
Yeah, the leaf pickup, has that been decided yet? It's under unfinished business?
Still
No, we're still throwing it around.
If you're gonna go to the bag system, it's gonna be very impractical for people who live on Colonel Point, Duck Lake. We live in a forest.
Yeah.
We go through 200-300 bags to even get close to putting a jet to leaves. We really need the machine to come down our road. I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd be more than happy to pay a special assessment to have leaves taken care of. You've got the machine, also use existing people or hire a couple of part-timers. Because if we're gonna be burning leaves back there, you might as well call the fire department. It's gonna be bad. I used to live in Jenison, and they stopped leaf burning because it got so bad in the community, because everybody was burning leaves. So, think about that.
Okay. Thanks for your input. Anybody else? Gonna turn it over right now then to ISDA's got a presentation.
Well,
I'll be the first to say, we wanted to come and just present probably to everybody. So we have a bond proposal coming up in August 6th, and I'll be first to say, nobody likes taxes. So, but we're presenting with that in mind. So, one of the first things you do when you take, when you're hired into an organization, so in 2020, I was hired in as superintendent, and I was in Lakeview for a long period of time. So we did a facilities needs assessment. And so when that facility needs assessment was done, they gave us a $44 million price tag of everything that needs to be done. So at some point, you have to send back and say, I can't, not all of those things are needs. Sometimes folks doing those assessments don't truly know, are you staying on top of your preventative maintenance and your annual review certification and things you do on your roofing systems. And so we pared that down, we did put a proposal, maybe you probably saw that, you voted. In February, that did not pass. So at that point, we figured, okay, maybe we need to hear the community. Let's pare this down some more and see what we can put out there, maybe garner some support for our needs. And so in the back here, I guess I'll point out, there are some little cards, and there are also some handouts. And so, again, we're just really here to provide information and to be transparent. And so we know when people go and they get behind the curtains and vote, when they vote how they vote, we support that. That's one of our biggest rights here as citizens of the United States. But on the other end, I at least want you to have some information. And so hopefully that's something you can at least view what we're saying today. So what we're asking for is $29.8 million, it's a 20-year term. But also keeping in mind, we think of like a local school in Carson City, Crystal, and the bond passed. That is covered by just the folks in that particular district. This is a countywide millage. So the impact of that, it's a $500,000, $29.8 million, and it's over 20 years. But I also add, this is the first time Montgomery area intermediate school district has ever gone to the community and asked for any facilities needs. And we're only here because the budget that we have cannot cover the needs. And so what the state does is give you an avenue to go to your constituents, and hopefully you have provide enough information so that they can hear what you have to say, and hopefully you garner the support in that communication. So from our end, it is a 20-year term, $29.8 million, but for a home with $100,000 taxable value, that's about $50 annually. And so it's about $5 every 10,000 taxable value for those of you who want to kind of do that comparison to your own home. But this is truly a needs assessment. Our needs are, it's not an auditorium, it's not football stadiums, it's not turf. We're talking roofs, parking lots, and mechanical systems. So who we are, I know when you think, Carson City Crystal, or if you're living in Greenville or a resident, those are maybe some of the districts that you identify with the most. We are also a local district that represents this community. So you might know us more through if you had any students or nephews or grandkids who go to the Career Center. We operate the Career Center. You might have a student who has gone through the Great Start Readiness Program. Those are early childhood. We run those. You might know somebody who's got a student who's got some more severe needs. And so we also run the Cider Education Center in Greenville. So we're a service agency. So there are students who live in your communities who the local school can't provide for some of those needs, so they come to us. And that's what we exist for. And so, from a price tag standpoint, $8 million at the Career Center for a roof and parking lot. So 25% of that is for a roof and parking lot at those two buildings. Warm, safe, part of that is protecting community assets. One of the other things, if you look at the documents, also on those cards, I'm trying to keep in respect to the business here. I know that sometimes these meetings can go long. But if you jump on our website, and it's on those cards back there, anything I'm presenting and talking about is right there. You can look it up yourself. One of the other things, all of our buildings, other than the Career Center, have been bought and repurposed. So like the Cider Education Center in Greenville was the old Gibson appliance back here showroom. And we repurposed it to service special needs kids. Now it's functional, but it's not ideal. So if you walk through some of the newer buildings and things they've done in the local schools, our building does not necessarily look like that. It's functional, there's not a lot of natural light. And like, we have some classrooms that have wheelchairs, and one of the things we talked about, we were on the radio yesterday morning, same kind of conversation. There's some classes, we can't get multiple classrooms in those rooms because we can't get all the wheelchairs in our entry. And so we want to remodel and repurpose some of that building and add an addition to address the needs of those kids. So probably 2/3 of the cost is going to the addition of that building that serves local kids that we provide services for. What am I missing, Penny? I know I'm trying to stick in the time frame. But again, just wanted to be transparent, provide information, we look through here. Just thinking about some questions, that I received, we presented at the Carson City Crystal School Board meeting on Monday.
Our voting precincts, that can be.
Yeah, when you think of Montcalm County, obviously you got the panhandle and how it's shaped. But most of you probably are aware at this stage, in terms of your active voters, our voting precincts often go beyond Montcalm County. So, like, I think at Carson, you're probably leaking down into Gratiot, Gratiot and Isabella, Greenville leaks over into Kent County. So there are people who live outside of Montcalm County who vote on our bonds as well.
That is explained in one of the slides. If you look at the third slide, there's a map there that addresses our service area and our school district. So you will see what Kyle's referring to is that if you live in one of the 7 school districts that we serve in our service area, then you are an eligible voter.
So it's on that page right there, and you can kind of see, these are the districts, and those are set by the state of Michigan. Normally I have a PowerPoint, so it's more fluid in how I'm talking about it, but I think an important question for you to walk out here with, because one of the questions, and a great question, what are some of the things that you are doing, before you're coming to us? So an ISD is funded differently than a local school. We aren't necessarily butts in the seat like, districts. Open enrollment and their count days are critical for their funding. Most of our funding comes from IDEA and special ed funding. That's about 80% of our funding. And then there's a CTE millage years ago that the local schools have passed. It stays forever. So Carson City Crystal kids come to the Career Center for nothing, because that's something that was supported many years ago in this community. But we cannot commingle funds, so I can't use special ed dollars to cover Career Center needs. I can't use Career Center funding that covers, the needs of Cider Center. And so our general fund budget is really small. And so really it's for like my position and some of the business office services. And that can't really cover any of the needs at all. And so each year, at the end of the year, just like the township probably does, you assess where your budget is. And so we take what we can and we put into what we call a capital outlay fund. So the way it works for the ISD, once you put funding into a capital outlay fund, it cannot ever come out of there, and that's where you would do projects. So when we have the funding and the financing available, we have a master list that our long-term and short-term needs. Our facilities guys are phenomenal. We target and hire strategically. Our facilities director is a licensed builder. Our assistant maintenance director is a master electrician. So, we can cut down on funding for the community I have skill set right there within the organization that can do a lot of that work. And so, I don't even know where I was going with that conversation, but what I was gonna say is that when we put those, that funding into there, we do what we can. So when I first hired him, one of the first things we did was we refinished the parking lot at Cider Center. And that was $760,000 in 2020, and I can just imagine where that's when the cost was just skyrocketing at that point. So costs don't they don't decline, they just continue to go up. So a lot of information, again, we just encourage you to go out and vote, whatever that means for you. I support the plan. I just hope, I at least gave you some information that might cause you to pause for a second and say, okay, we heard this guy speak. If it's something you support, feel free to speak to a neighbor about it or have them call us. We'd be glad to communicate and have dialogue with anybody who has interest. But first of all, thank you for having us. It's a tough job sometimes, and I also kudos to all of you for being here. You go to a lot of places, you don't see a turnout like this, so I wasn't quite expecting this many folks, so, put some tap shoes on, but with that said, I'll answer any questions if you have any now, I'll field those, but, yes, ma'am.
I have a couple questions.
All right.
So what parking lot are you gonna resurface?
Well, he'll be Career Center, and, the Hamler Administration Building.
So I've got a question about the Career Center.
All
So
right.
at the Career Center, you share that with my community dental center.
We lease space to them.
Okay, so are they gonna help you resurface
No,
that
they're,
parking?
they're renters, you know, so just like if you owned a home, you're not gonna charge the renters for that. Now, it might, down the road, we might look at, I want to be careful, I don't want it recorded, but without talking to them, but it might impact what we, you know, decide down the road in terms of what we charge for lease, but, yeah, they pay us a annual, or a monthly rental fee at the end there.
So they will be pitching something into that parking lot because, I mean, there's cars going in and out
I would
of
say,
that parking lot?
if any,
There's only one way in and one way out.
financing coming from, but they also don't have school buses, they don't have plow trucks, they don't have, you know, diesel, all the mechanic trucks, you know, we have diesel and some of that, so they aren't beating our parking lot up. So I would say probably any increase in their lease agreement would have just to do with, cost of, you know, running that program. So it'd be probably electricity, mechanic, you know, and some of this cost, you know, our folks do the plowing and do the cleaning, so some of that's built into the lease agreement, but the overall bulk of that cost, you know, I wouldn't, something I'd ask them to chip in on.
Are there any other buildings that you have that you lease to any other entities?
No, cider education, because of the nature of the students, we would protect, you know, the safety and not having the folks in there around the students we serve. You know, we have very, you know, kids who have some, you know, are very, sensitive to sound and, also, you know, just health, you know, overall things, whether it be having, breathing tubes and things like that, we wouldn't want kind of traffic in there to disrupt the education of the students. Great questions, fair questions? Any others? I'll take a softball, no fastball. But thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Again, appreciate this window and being courteous. Like I said, I walk in knowing, you know, not everybody's on the tax board, but I also want to highlight this, we never asked for them before. So it's a need, and we certainly wish we didn't have to. But, you know, that's what your constituents are for. Thank you, and hopefully say no.
Thank you.
All right, have a great rest of the day.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for putting us at the front, so we
Yeah,
can.
no problem.
Thanks, Patty. Take care.
Anybody not get one, you can have mine. Let them pass these over. All right.
Tom Bates, Okay, we'll move on then. I need a motion to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Lee, second by Patty, to approve the agenda and accept the consent agenda. All in favor?
Discussion,
Or
please.
discussion?
Noticed going through bills, and it's stuck in my head because this was about the well drilling. We are spec'd out a 3 horsepower pump, and what is noted in the invoice is a 1.5 horsepower pump.
Yep.
So why did we spec out 3?
That's, we talked about that before. Kenny got that one, he did what he recommended.
Right, but this is the invoice that's in the bills right now, so are we
Right.
getting a 3 horsepower
He said
pump?
if we need it, he'd give it to us.
Get it.
His bill was more.
Because he had to go deep. That bill was for 100 feet, and he had to go 167.
So if you're deeper, wouldn't you need more rather than less?
I was under
No.
the understanding he was gonna put that bigger horsepower in the get-go.
No, he just said if he needed it, he would put it in.
I
No.
understood that as you said, he's going to do the 3 horsepower, and we all said, let's get it in writing, and I haven't seen that.
And he didn't do that, he did the lesser horsepower.
Right.
So how deep did he have to go?
167, I think it was.
The bill says that.
So yeah, if you're deeper, you need more force to come up, like, that's physics.
and 67 feet.
Yeah, but this, why were we spec'd out 3 horsepower if half the size would work? I don't understand that. If we had 3 people who bid, they were under the assumption they were bidding for a 3 horsepower pump, right? And then we had the fracas and the in-between, and he was going to get the appropriate pump, but still stay under budget, was how I understood that
No,
discussion.
he said he would put it in, and even if he went to the 3 horse, he was still $900 cheaper than the one closest to him.
And I understood that as he's going to the 3 horse and he's still under budget.
I do have to say, I was into that.
And when we was up there, when he was up there talking, the guys doing the project, they said, oh no, they said that would more than probably do it.
Well, I think the worst thing about this is the bidding wasn't fair, and I know this is past tense, but that bidding wasn't fair. And I don't think any of us did that intentionally, but I don't think any of us like it either.
Also in the bills, notice on the Bloom Sluggett bill that there are a number of conference with attorney, with the clerk, and if the attorney is the board's attorney, can we please have the information that's coming out of some of those?
And I'm not sure what,
Whatever the discussion would be.
yeah, I don't know what it said it was about though.
I didn't write notes, it's in here. I wrote notes of this one. Conference with Township Clerk regarding FOIA request bids and crop lease. Conference with Township Clerk regarding scrap metal theft.
So
Email
FOIA,
regarding crop lease. Like, what are these?
well, the crop lease is working for Kurt's crop lease.
Right, and that was made, we had those in our hand months ago.
Was it the resolution? Yeah, the resolution.
Okay.
And the other was the FOIA, and what was the other one? Oh, the theft of the scrap metal. So I guess I'm not sure what I'm not.
I think what she means is sometimes it's so vague, we have no idea what we're paying for.
Yeah, and it's a month or a month and a half in the past, and if we haven't got an email that said, hey, information, don't reply, that would be super awesome.
See, that one is from mini builds, I think I got a different address, so that's at least 2 months.
Yeah, there's a leak fraud going on for sure. So that's what I have. Oh, yes, and also Roundup. Where are we using Roundup?
Sidewalks,
How near to the lake?
I don't think you're going down that far, like some Main Street.
I have to say that
Probably
they
down
told
in
me
the
they
library
were going to
on
put
the-
Roundup down on the pavilion area, and I went, what? You can't do that. Well, there's some grass there, I said, can you dig something out? You can't put Roundup. So that's what he said, I'm just hoping he didn't do that.
So
I don't know why he went to Roundup on it, it's a contact spray.
It's surfactant though, and if it's going to be around aqueous places, it needs to not have surfactant to be safe. If you're using like terrestrial Roundup, it is not great to have within like 100 feet of the water. And we should be the example on that, if that's really what's happening.
I believe he meant that little area that goes like this and it joins into the bar area, and yes, there's some grass growing there, but if that bothers them, take it out, I don't know.
Get a propane torch for stuff that's close to the lake, you know? We don't want runoff.
Or sometimes, you know, there's grass growing in sand. Is it that bad? And I try not to say. Are you done? 'Cause I got a couple.
Yes, I'm done.
Okay.
Really, for real this time.
I had brought this out to 2 different people on the board. Their bid, $695,180. They say their original contract is $698,180. Every time they send us a bill, it's still $698. That's $3,000 more than what this award is.
going down, we really need to keep track to see if they're correcting that. Okay. One other thing is, we have, I think a duplicate CMS bill because it's an invoice from April, but we paid the same amount to them in May. Now, I know both you and I had laptop repair, but yours was more expensive repair than my repair. So they shouldn't be the same dollar amount. And it shouldn't be from an April invoice that we're paying in June. And we paid that April invoice in May.
Do you think that invoice here is a duplicate from the one that we already paid?
I think so, because it's an April invoice. So just check on that.
Yes.
And I guess we are going to have more of the beach discussion later, so that's all I got.
Yeah.
On your back, we need to add chapter H parking lot, farmer's market, duck lake, and DBA to the war.
Farmer's market what?
Duck lake, DBA to the war.
Tug of war, that's what
For
you're
the
doing.
DBA, yeah.
Okay, well, can we watch all the DBA members do a tug of war?
Sounds good.
It's all you guys, Nancy. Sorry, I couldn't think.
Okay, all in favor with the changes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Need a motion now to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to accept it.
Second.
Motion by Lee, second by Sarah to accept the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Puts us down to Chris.
Okay, for our May 28th meeting, we had a young lady in, give her a certificate of appreciation for a bunch of volunteer work she did in one of our parks, it's Trump Park. The village manager from Lakeview, Darren Doe, come in requesting some money, $1.3 million for new radios for all law enforcement because the FBI is changing all the requirements for radio and data encryption. So all the radios are no good, it's not unless required, it's just for the police. Commission on Aging had a employee, a revision of a job description which we approved, and DTE requested a PA 116 transfer for property that's over there where they're doing their solar project. Some of that was in the PA 116, they have to do some changes there.
On condenser road there.
On Condenser Road, Evergreen, and anyway. Then on the 6th of June, our meeting this month, we had to just reappoint one of the people that's on our Substance Use Disorder and Oversight Policy Board. And one other thing, the marijuana tax money that we get, in 2022, we got $169,360.32. In 23, we got $311,047.26. In 24, we got $413,604.45 for a total of $894,012.03 so far. Last year, we did some disbursements with the 3 places that had marijuana shops, and we're doing that again this year. So Crystal Township, the city of Stanton, and the village of Edmore is all gonna get $50,000 of our tax money. And the drug court fund is also gonna get $50,000 of it. So, and
Checks in the mail.
just approved it Monday. So that's $100,000 of our drug money that we sent back to here. For the projects.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Definitely.
Any questions for me?
Thanks, Chris.
Up to the other one.
Fire report, Mike's not here. Tell you anything, DPW. One of their lawnmowers are down, I know.
Ooh, what happened?
They say it's a wiring problem. They gave them another one to use. So we still got two. Duck Lake, you gonna speak on that, Dave, or sure, you're not on anymore, are
The
you?
only thing I would add is that Duck Lake, they began cutting weeds today, and it'll probably go on for 2-3 days, at least 2 days. They're in the weed harvesting, and they're getting a bunch of the areas opened up, trying to do it before July 4th. I think chemical treatment was done not too long ago. Yeah, they've done a couple of treatments, and program is well underway. I think they're doing some more cutting later this year.
That puts us down to you, Dave, Downtown Development Authority.
Yeah, let me start out, the music in the park has started, we're about, tomorrow night will be the second event. Turnout was, I thought, very good for the first one, good weather. Noel Park is working out fine. I want to thank Bob and the Lions Club for painting the pavilion. And, I put up the banner today, so the banner's up there, if you've seen it or not. And, appreciate that, 'cause it looks a lot better now for the music in the park out there. So that's working out well. Deb got Deb here. Deb's working on getting details together for a summer festival out there on July 20th.
Yes.
And if you wanna add a few things to that?
Well, what I wanted to do was ask the township, we're gonna have try to have a mud tug of war between the two bars. And I wanna ask permission to be able to set that up out there, at Moore Park.
It's gonna be a mud one?
Yes.
Where you gonna make your mud hole at?
Well, I'm gonna have it on this far side, the very south end of the park, right beside, well, there's bushes there by the, racetrack. It's gonna be out in that far
Way
field.
back.
Yeah, Elmer's gonna probably dig the hole, put it back, and we'll reseed the whole thing, so everything's back like it was. I haven't quite figured out where I'm gonna get my water yet, so. Also, I'm having a dunk tank too, so, we
Got a
want
fire
to.
department kinda close, Pat, or Deb, maybe you could,
What's that?
you know, fire department pretty
Yeah,
close.
yeah, I didn't know if that was, if I could
You'd
use
have to
that
check
for an
with
option or
them, but,
not.
yeah.
Also, I wanted to find out if we could have another porta-john put out there just during this particular festival. Like a handicap one, like I have during the Winter Fest. I think it's like $150, $125. So, I didn't know if that's something you guys would be interested in doing for us or not. And also extra trash cans, I probably have to get with the DPW for that, for the extra trash cans.
Yeah, I can say so too.
Okay, David and I are gonna go out Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday morning and try to figure out where we're gonna put everything out there. We're gonna be doing up a flyer here real soon, all the events that are gonna be there, if anybody has any questions. Music in the park, it would actually really well Monday night for being as cold as it was, but, I think this week is gonna be really good. It's gonna be nice.
The only thing I'd ask if you guys would, got a complaint, you must have put some picnic tables on,
Yes?
you would take it back off when you're done, or?
Yeah, we'll do that. We put them on there to keep the cars
Yeah.
off the concrete.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
We
talked
didn't want
to,
put tire marks on the
I
concrete.
talked to the president of the Lions Club, before I did any of this, and before bringing it to you, I talked to him. And he said it was okay to put them out there, but I didn't think about all.
That's
And I
okay,
had
to
to
set them
take
there
the
just
golf
right when you
cart
leave,
back-
yeah.
We had to take the golf cart back to the, where we're, storing it, so which, we're storing that is in a secure area. Stan's letting us use a garage out there, and it's all secure and everything there, so we ain't gotta worry about it, it's in a central area.
Yep, so the tables have to go back.
Yeah. Do you guys have any questions for me about the Summerfest, or?
The only thing I wanted to mention is, for the handicap, I will contact Jason's to see if we could get an extra one. But I know I contacted them for an extra handicap for the 4th, and they don't have any, so it's just gonna depend on if they have.
Okay, well, then maybe we can.
But I'll
somewhere
try
else,
to
I can
find
do
out.
it
When's the
somewhere else.
Montcalm County 4-H fair?
Next week.
Okay, so maybe they'll be, yeah, they might have,
Yeah,
maybe.
but yeah, handicap was the problem.
It just seems bigger, and if you do have to have a handicap person, I prefer just to have a
Right.
handicap one.
Do you want one single if we can't get a handicap?
Well, yeah, cause I think there's just not enough, and where we're having it, one, you can't even see them out that way, they're behind the concession stand, and then you have one out here, you know, by the ballpark, so. Yep, I guess I'm all done, if you have any.
Okay.
Should we, hold on just a second, should we hit up Dave with the insurance because of tug of war and being, yeah,
They did a special event form, Dave just turned it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just turned a special events form in.
Yeah, we
We'll
got
see what
one
the cost
for,
is. We've talked to the company that does the bounce house and dump tank. They can provide insurance, but that's only those two. I'd rather have
Right.
a little event
Yeah.
policies.
awesome.
Yep. And as Deb mentioned, the summer raffle's underway, a golf cart this year is all electric. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's a pretty neat machine. It's got some nice features. You'll see it around, tickets are out. I think we'll have
The local businesses?
Local businesses, okay. Our facade grant, I'm gonna move on to that. We've revised that to make the application simpler and increase the levels of funding. And, grant applications are in the works for the old Township Hall. I actually received the application today. So if we get it, I may have to have a special meeting to get it approved. But if we can get it approved, we'll have the old Township Hall painted. So we'll
Nice.
hopefully
Wait
get
a
rid of
minute,
it.
isn't that owned by a private individual?
Right.
And so we're gonna paint it?
They apply for the
As long as-
school city
Yeah,
DDA.
they're looking, right now, they're looking for a gallery in there, for a gallery in there.
Okay.
We couldn't have helped Tara out.
So it's a question of the board, if the board doesn't approve it, then we won't do it.
We're working with her.
Andy Bianchi out of Lansing.
It was just a question, Dave,
Yep.
that we would help you know,
Yep.
with a private individual, at this point, it's not even a business.
Yeah, the way the grant's written right now, it has to have a commercial intent anyway. Yeah, I
So
don't
as
know
long
if
as
it
it
has
has
to be-
intent, even though it's had an intent for several years.
Yeah, I don't know if it has to be
Since you
active, that would be up to the board if we have to change it or not. You have to realize that the facade grant can actually be opened up to individual housing too, if it's in the district.
Gotcha.
So it's not a
Yeah, so That is
restriction.
in the district.
No, it's just whatever we wrote into the grant policy.
Okay.
We're some,
This lady over here said, about Tara, was that we have been trying to work with Tara on helping getting her
Yeah.
situated, but she has,
we're
it's her
trying,
decision on whether she wants to have it, you know.
To me, it don't sound like she does this year. She says for what, for her project, university, she's already got a price.
no, we've got a quote on Tara's building, we're gonna talk about that. It came in around 16,000. It's really above what I think she can afford.
Right, that's what
She's
she
gotta do a
said.
match. So right now, I talked to her the other day, and I'm asking her to see if they can't revise it down and pick on the items you can see, part of the roof primarily, and see if we can get that down to a reasonable dollar amount for her to be able to match.
Okay.
So I'm trying to deal with it to at least,
Well, I figured that was a little more
and get something.
important
underway.
than somebody that, for how many
Yeah,
years?
she's actually active there.
Yeah.
It's in the works.
Okay.
Thank you.
The DDA is supporting the township and getting the park and rec plan in place. I just gave Patty a check for 10 grand.
Thank you.
We're pitching in to try to get a 5-year plan in place so we can go for more grants. We noted that the park project's adding 4 benches, new benches. We're kind of coming up with a donation. We've had an interest in somebody donating for a bench or to have a memorial put on the bench. And we're trying to come up with a plan to open it up to the public, so it's not specific to 1 or 2 people. So that's gonna be in development. We'll try to come back to the board with what we think is the best way to do that, for people to be able to donate or actually make a donation for the whole bench.
Can I make a comment on that? David and I were talking about it, said if we get more than what we need for the park up there, why can't we put them out at Knoll Park? We also got South Shore, or is it South Park? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
over
is
there.
We could consider more benches at
Yeah,
other areas.
so we don't wanna really turn anybody away, and then somebody remind me, we've got East Shore over on Duck Lake as a township park, you know, put a nice bench over there too, so I think we could have more.
We'll see how much we get in donations
Yeah.
and see if we can get it donated. Okay, not to run the meeting out. The DDA has also become aware that the MEA, the Michigan Economic Alliance, has got money available in their MI Neighborhood Grant Program. I think you're at the meeting, so you know what this is about. You know where I'm going with this. Through their, through MISTA. That grant program also includes public spaces items, which includes pavilions. The DDA has agreed at our last meeting, we'd proceed with a grant application if acceptable to the township. So we're gonna talk about that one. We would request the cost of the building of 2 pavilions in the park. Grant amount can be up to $75,000. So I think we can cover 2 pavilions with that. What we need from the township is we need a letter of support saying you agree to the board, essentially the DDA board's efforts to apply for the grant. And I think maybe Anna even gave some suggested
Very nice.
proposal that goes into the letter. So I'd ask that you authorize us to go forward with that and give us a letter.
I would make a motion that we do so.
And I would second that motion.
Motion by Nancy, seconded by Leish,
And I have the letter, I typed it up, and it basically just says the grant review committee, and then it's got the paragraph that Anna gave us, and then look for, so it's ready to go.
Okay.
alright, all in favor, say aye.
One thing we try
All
to do
opposed,
is
motion
try to
carried.
do your word for you. Okay. Go ahead.
I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Dave? Okay, it's down to the Montgomery County Police Report, Officer Coon.
I have nothing noteworthy to report from last month.
Okay, good.
I stood here the whole time for that.
Thank
You
you.
can save for the rest of the meeting, you want?
Spent all afternoon putting this together.
Does anybody got any questions for the officer?
Did they make any progress on the assault by ice cream cone case yet?
Well,
I do not know that.
Okay.
someone assaulted your ice cream?
No, assault by ice cream cone.
Oh.
In proximity
Okay. And move us down to trustee report.
First thing, did you guys all get this, or was this just me thing?
I got that in the mail.
You got it in the mail?
Okay, got one minute.
I didn't get one. I didn't either.
It is like half a conference. There are 3 workshops. The workshops are creating a vision, strategic planning, and linking up with your community. I think they are all very worthy with membership. It's $100 a class. Don't need to vote on this now, but I'm planning on doing this on my own, because most of my training budget of this year is used up.
Right.
Well, when is that, sir?
It is the 31st of July and August 1st. Oh, yeah.
How
Forget
much
what you-
was all
The new
3?
fiscal year.
It did say on there, all 3, you could do all 3.
$250. Say $50.
So you say 50
Yeah.
bucks by doing all 3.
So that's thing one, that I just want to make sure everybody was aware
I don't know
of.
what I do with my copy.
It says you have to respond by a certain date to get the discounted rate, right? What is that date, Sarah? When you get it back? It says respond by.
Yeah, I don't know, but look at it.
Is it the bottom? All right, I'll look at it.
I didn't see it, I just wanted
I
everybody to
remember
be
it
aware
saying
since,
Early bird
planning.
special, and if not, after that date, it was a certain amount.
July 16th.
Okay, July 16th.
because those things go into budget making, all those things do. So if we could go and take them already with our membership, that would be real awesome. Thing 2,
And I had, if you guys copied what I did for training, I had built in a little bit more in case there was some BSNA training, which so far I haven't found any that I want to go to, so. And I think each of you, everyone's got the same.
1,500 a year, isn't it?
Right, yes, so. I'm probably gonna go to this class, since it's in our budget, in our training budget.
I'll have to look at the dates. We'll
Alright.
see about work.
alright.
So, no, okay, which, the way we've kind of tried to work this, once we've got something in our budget, it really, we should let the board know, but we don't really have to ask
Right.
permission, is that, are we all on the
Same
same page
page.
with that?
Right, because it's within the budget.
Right.
I think we're on the same page.
Alright.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thing 2, ordinances. Did we read about ordinance enforcement, anyone, so we could have a discussion about it? No, okay. Health Department survey. John has my phone. I'm gonna forward that to all of you guys, but everybody in the audience, the Montcalm County Health Department is doing a survey about services that people in the county get. It's MHHD. Go to it, please, and take their survey. They need people to take the survey so they know what choices they need to make and what services are lacking here. Please, thank you.
What is that?
Montcalm County Health Department.
On their website?
Yes.
Is that the site?
It is mchd.org, probably.
That's it, thanks, Sarah. Okay,
Sorry, Kurt, but I did want to talk about parking, because we want to do that down under parking on the
That's what
back.
parking lots was.
Okay. I'll wait till then.
okay,
No, it's
Sorry about
okay.
that.
It's okay.
Parking lot.
okay, we got Kevin and from the source.
Yeah, I had concerns with the rates a while back with, we had a rate increase since 2011. I don't think we can hold back any further. Inflation is not. So, we got some projects coming up that are pretty hefty. So I got a hold of Matt Lombard from here, from, just Renewable Water, we're a member. And this is a free service, they have a program to put this all together for us, so he's going to present this to us.
You know, we'll be quick. Your rate study actually was, you guys are flat rate. That makes my job a lot easier when that happens. So we can, is that gonna drive anybody nuts at me? I can't get it to.
No, it's because it's free.
So yeah, Michigan Rural Water, you probably, most of them don't know about. I'm a non-profit organization, work for nonprofit. There's a rural water in every state, so they're Indiana, Ohio. I'm funded through the USDA, EPA. 99% of the stuff I do is free. We smoke test, we train. Anybody's had a problem, we can come and troubleshoot. Yeah, so I'm glad he reached out to me and taken advantage of it. So we kind of did this, I don't want to say in a hurry, but this program, I can get in depth a lot more than we got into, and it really doesn't matter for you guys, for what you're gonna see, but when me and Kevin work together, we can project this out the next 30 years. We didn't get that deep, we just didn't have time. Like the lagoons cleaned, we wanted to get that built in here, but we didn't have time to sludge judge to have an idea how many years away that was. We still believe it's quite a ways away. But, so we'll just start, this is your, like I said, you guys are really simple. Your flat rate, you have 1,066 customers or REUs. I do think you have a few that are more than one REU, don't
We
you?
have a few campgrounds, quite a few.
But majority of those are just residential customers. And you can see right now your current rate's at $20, and that generates 2,584,000. Yeah. And that's just, I mean, that's just 20 times.
Simple
Yep,
then.
yep. Like I say, a lot of these tabs, you are not even gonna, I hit a lot of them already. Index, your bank balance, this is what you have them right now available. So total, you have 528,000 in cash reserves, which is pretty good. Here's your budget. This is gonna look a little bit different, your budget you got, because when we do a rate study, I can't fund depreciation in a rate study. We take that in consideration like in capital improvements projects. So you won't see it in here, but it's accounted for, it's just accounted for in a different place on the rate study. So, but this is pretty much, there's gonna be a little bit difference. I think the one different thing on yours is she had 108,000 there on the budget, I think. But a majority of that was for some projects that were coming up, so I put that on a different tab. Or something, but this is just, yeah, I think it's 105. And so this is, a lot of that money went to projects that are gonna be out in the system, and then a portion of that money was still there for plant improvements, pumps, stuff like that.
I have a question, is that from that one presentation that woman was here?
What's that?
What you're talking about?
No, sewer assessment.
Okay.
We worked off of, for F and D, is that what?
Yeah.
Now, we worked off that plan to come up with some of our figures,
Okay.
so we did use that. Non-sales income, I don't even know if we got there. I remember talking, you don't have a big, some communities have a large non-sales, they sell bulk water, something like that. You guys have some late fees, I think, that amounts to maybe $4,000 a year. And that wouldn't be really enough to even do anything here, so.
I don't think it comes to that.
Yeah, it wouldn't change much. You don't have any loans, I mean, you do, but not that are paid for by rates. It was a special assessment when you guys built the plant and did everything, so. You don't have,
Just off Lake.
yeah. So, yeah, you're good there as far as loans. But we can, I mean, if you were looking at doing some projects, we can go into the study, get the loan amount that you're looking at, we can plug it in here, and it would tell you what your rates are gonna be, really low. So it's something to keep in mind if you do ever have to do a big project, but that's kinda why we're here. We're kinda hoping we'd get ahead of the game and start paying for this stuff, you don't have that schedule, you don't have any of that. Where we get into this stuff. No, why didn't I put it under capital? Like I say, this is where we can dive real deep into it. With some of the, we just didn't, we could break down every lift station motor, what year it was installed. We didn't get that far in depth here. A lot of the lift stations are actually in good shape. So these are all the projects that kind of outlined in the F and D, like some of the ones that Kevin felt were important. And lining of the manholes, I think, as he said, was on top priority. And it would be, I agree, if you line those manholes, you get so much infiltration of rainwater and everything, and your pumps and everything else are working to get rid, for no reason. I mean, it's rainwater. If we can get that, keep that out of the system, we're just way ahead of the game. So what I did, because at first I said, well, let's get all the manholes lined. Well, I did that, and they're 93,000 to do 29. Well, if I did that, you're gonna see this column over here. If I did that every year, this column over here, we start going into the red. Well, if I did that with doing the linings every year, it went red real quick. So by doing 29 in the following year, taking a little financial break and doing the valve replacements on the thing, then we're back, and then we're gonna jump up to 2 valve replacements right here, at 40,000. And so on. You can see it, we stretch it right out down to, where did it go to? Yeah, 2038. Now you're still red, and this is where we can talk a little bit. So up here, that 150,000, that, I just stuck that in there playing around. So that would be a choice for the board to decide how much of their reserve they wanna fund that project with. So just as an example right here, I have taken 150,000 out of your reserves, and then this is the other number you guys gotta make a decision on, is that 51,500, that is the amount that we're gonna say moving forward to pay for these projects that's gonna be paid for with rates. And you can pick whatever number you want in there, both of those, and I can kinda show you what happens. Here, let's go play with that. This is gonna jump back to your budget page, I don't know why it does that. It's a hyperlink. So let me put, let's say 250. I'm guessing that would be enough to make those reds go away. Yeah, that was enough just by doing that. We're fully funded on all those projects. If you wanted to do that. I'm gonna go back and put that at 150. And you can go less, you can go more, you can say, no, we want rates to pay for it all. We don't wanna take our reserve funds, and then it's gonna make your rates go up. There's one other thing I wanna show you here too. I'll change this back.
So Kevin, this would be you doing all this work or hiring somebody else to do it?
Yeah, I gotta hire for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, there's some things that we can help with, like the Vector truck, that'll save us money, because they don't have to hire a Vector truck and you don't wanna pay for somebody
Right.
else's. That's probably $1,800 a day to have a truck here. So them kind of things we can help out with. Traffic control, we can do it. So yeah, we're gonna help out a little bit.
Okay.
This also too, this program up top there, there's 3% built into that every year, increasing. So those numbers are probably gonna be pretty realistic, so it sees that.
Is it realistic to do that many manholes in 1 year, around here?
Yeah, I mean, cause that's, how
I
many?
got an estimate on 29 manholes, the worst ones on the north side of the lake. Starting right from the beginning, coming around, first 29, right to lift station number 10.
How many is there all the way around the lake?
283. Good thing about it is they can't start talking Memorial or Labor Day, and we wouldn't want them to.
And now this, we have to rely on the County Road Commission too as well, right? To come and undo a lot of those that have been, you have to do that?
Mine, or ours.
But even though they've sealed some of those shut?
Oh yeah, I found that out. We've been out there today and yesterday trying to locate, for a sewer hookup, and, yeah.
You still have to try to unseal.
They're not doing it anymore. They call me and tell me they're gonna pave, and we put risers on it, but they've snuck some of them on.
And you have to unseal all those, they won't even.
Well, when they did it, they said, if you ever any troubles, just call us, we'll help you get them off. And I said, are you gonna come out at 2 o'clock in the morning when I have troubles? And they said, no, you gotta wait until 7.
And I think another reason too, they're doing so many at a time,
Right.
you get a much better price break. If you got them here and they can get the equipment and materials, the more they do, the better.
I didn't realize, I
You had that
forgot
many?
about we had that many,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So what I'm gonna do here, real quick, is that 51,500. I told Kevin, I said, I wanna see what your rates are now. I mean, what you're looking like. So this is saying you're not gonna do anything.
We're gonna leave it at $20.
No, this is gonna show you what you should be at.
Oh, right.
With this is doing nothing.
Okay.
I mean, this is going like you've been running all along. And this is, without doing nothing, that's saying what your rate should be right now. So that's telling me you're going backwards. You're not collecting $25.98 without doing nothing.
A month.
That's right now. So that's telling me you're going in the red. You're not collecting enough money to run your system.
Kevin, is that the Duck Lake and Crystal Lake?
Yeah, we're all together now.
All
Do we have manholes out at Duck Lake?
Yeah, lots of them. You drive over them every day.
I'm gonna have to look for them by the county.
Unless they're sealed by the county.
Top 3%.
So paying 60 cents 3 times that?
Well, we're paying
We're
$20 a month, but
Yeah,
we
we're
pay
paying
it 3
$4
times
a
a year,
month,
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Oh,
yeah.
you're quarterly.
Quarterly.
Okay.
$240 a year.
yeah.
So $20.
So we need to be $26 without
Agreed.
doing any repairs.
Any repairs?
But
And that would
my
cover
question
the
is,
26.
But no,
are we
that's
gonna
what-
do anything?
No, that's no repairs, that's
With
leaving
that
it just as
The
is.
woman that came in here and did that
Jason
whole
ran a
thing,
break.
because that was really gonna add a whole lot more money on,
$49 a month, add on plus the 20 we're already paying.
yes.
That's what
Then
Kevin
we
reached
need,
out.
we need to be at $25.98 right now, so it's gonna be
And then,
plus 49.
yeah, and that's gonna really not
It's
a
gonna be
lot of.
$79 a
In my
month.
opinion, we don't need to do that.
That's gonna, yeah.
So, and that's like I said, that's why Kevin reached, he feels that he could take care of a lot of this stuff, and get it, and he does, he's got a good network of people, the
And
prices he gets on stuff. is
That's
like
what I got, when
dirt
she
cheap.
said something about the lift stations, and I had a problem with that when you said a lot of them were good. And what you said that you paid for some of them out there with the pumps,
I just.
or whatever.
You ain't gonna believe it, but the pump just blew up last week. We fired it up for the year, 15 minutes later, sparks flew, everything was junk. So I've just purchased 2 new pumps and 2 new motors for a spare and get us going for about 10 grand. They bought 50,000 in here.
I was gonna say, she wanted a whole lot more money for what you've been, yeah.
I can't buy
She
them for
inflated all
that.
that.
I can't get them for that. I've searched all over. I see my price. But I got a guy in Ionia that's, I don't know where he gets it. I know the pumps came, or the motors came out of Chicago. I don't remember what's broke down to now for that motors. $3 grand or something like that, or 2,800 for that motor. I'm going, are you kidding me? I can't touch it for that. I can't get online and find it for that. That guy's gonna be around for a while, cause his kids are all doing it with him,
Okay.
and they're like in their mid-20s. Robinson's Electrical and Mechanical in Riverdale, that's who was my to-go guys on anything else. They retired and sold out, now I'm screwed there.
Yeah, she scared me when she came in and did that presentation. Those prices were.
Well, like I say, I think you're not too bad yet, if we are like, proactive and get going, and I think you can keep your head above water with it.
Going this route?
Yep. And so now I put that 51,500, that's saying that's what you're gonna collect from rates to do these and you're still going red, so I mean, that would be up to you guys if you wanted to fund it more from rates or from your capital. And that number, you're gonna see, I didn't. You'll see. That 51,500 is just a made up number. But that's what it says your rates need to be collecting.
With 150 of,
Still,
Capital.
taking 150 out
Capital.
of capital, because you've got quite a bit of
right,
capital.
right.
And that would help, we know with your rates, keeping it down for the residents.
You talked, what do you think, and we say we went to 30, so we don't get, and then every year do like a 3% increase?
Well, it's funny that you brought that up, because we did
Kevin
some.
kinda mentioned it to us.
Yeah, we did the math on that, and if you had been doing that since your last rate increase, you'd almost get $30. So a lot of communities do that, 2-3%, they pick it, and it seems to be really close. And what also I'd recommend too is that I'm free, so I'd have Kevin call me in every year, and we just do a quick, once I got everything loaded, it's literally an hour. And we could do it at a meeting every year, saying, yeah, we're in good shape, or no, we need to bump it a little bit, or.
That's awesome.
What year did we rate increase, Kevin?
I think it was 2011.
Okay.
We went from 15 to 20.
If you just get it in the, so it takes it out of the board voting on it and everything, it's just like an amendment. You get new board members come, because I do a lot of these for communities and councils. You always get a new council member and they're gonna lower rates. My God, we pay too much money, and it's, but if you get it out of their hands and it just goes through, it's 3%, people don't usually, it just keeps going and going and going.
your recommendation is to do the 150, I mean, just from what you proposed,
Yeah.
what you showed.
Yep, but you're still in the red a little bit.
And to increase rates to $30,
Yep.
to $30, and then 3% every month.
Yep.
Still in the red.
3% a year.
Yeah, 3%, I didn't mean.
Yeah, but I think you're not in the red until down
Right.
the road a little bit. And it wouldn't take a whole much more out of your,
I think there was like two, so 35.
34.
and the only reason I did that is I figured I'll be back. And we might see that, okay, well, we're starting to collect what we should be collecting, and we're able maybe to start putting way more revenue, and maybe we'll have enough reserve paid, but we can just pay those, get to it. But yeah, I would definitely, I'm happy to come back every year and do a quick one and update it. And the 2 to 3%, I see a lot of communities going that route now.
I seen 3%, you had it up there on the
Yeah.
slide somewhere.
Yeah, we put 3% in on those projects, we just know it happened. And sometimes it's not enough. I mean, COVID, it definitely was not enough to keep up with the prices of stuff. But things are starting to get back to somewhat normal. But I think that's all I got. Somebody got a question for me?
So are you saying that, are you saying that if you raise it to $30 a month now, you don't have to add the 150, or you do?
You still do. You get, those projects are just too big.
How long have we had $500,000 in this account?
For a long time. I mean, we've carried 2 years, a year's worth ahead, almost since I've worked here.
Okay, so that's my question. Have we had this, what's been the average over the last 10 years? Because it looks like we're running out in 10 years, running the way we are. What's been the average of that balance for the last 10 years? Has it been $500,000 for 10 years, or has it been
I
less,
think it's
or
been
has
for
it
10
been
years.
more?
I don't think that's been for 10 years.
Well, it's
We
obviously
used to be in the
too.
180 a year range.
Okay.
And I think what we're at now was 240 or 250 a year running budget, our budget.
Yep. It's just now the system's getting old. That's what's happening, we're trying to get ahead of it.
Okay, I guess my question is, has this grown, this $500,000 grown over the last 10 years to 500,000? Or has it come from
I
a
think it's
million
always kind
down
of
to?
been that way since I come here, like, there's been I think you pretty much want to hang on to a 1 year's reserve ahead of everything. In case something really goes wrong, you do have it.
Right.
But I see right now, we're gonna be eating it up. It's gonna, we're okay, but it's gonna go down as we keep going here. Especially with some of these projects we've got going on, and I just can't see borrowing $6 million to do them, and they can be done a lot cheaper than that. And not only that, these people, I've had them work for me before. 2011, they did my influence structure, the sewer plant. It still looks great. Probably 4 years ago, they did Station 4. It looks great. And then as the guy came to give me estimates, he was leaving to head back to Grand Rapids to Police and Vandenbrink, because he does all their work. So he's got us at $28.50 a manhole, and that's pretty close, which surprises me. It's pretty close to their price that they give us, which everything else is way out of whack.
Are you satisfied with this schedule and the health of our system?
Yeah.
This
I'm
sounds
not-
feasible?
They want to do all these projects at once. We have manholes on South Shore Drive that are perfect. I've been in them, there's nothing wrong with them. So I'm not gonna do them. I'm gonna go do these 29, they're terrible. And then assess around the lake, coming around a little bit farther, maybe do them next year, the following year, and then get into the bell chambers, because they're 46 years old, and all that piping.
And that's what I'm worried about, is that how
I'm
many
gonna jump
things are in
around
there
back
top
and forth
priority?
until we get it all done.
How
Those duck lakes, are they getting bad, are they, any of them, or?
Station one has leakage coming through where they put the cylinders together, so you can see it come through. We may line that one of these years, or, in between
Nothing
that.
real bad.
That's about 14,000 to do that. But North Shore Drive right now is critical.
Why do you think that area is so bad?
It's underwater over there. In the springtime, when you lift the cover and it shoots right through the concrete.
Right there. Yeah, where-
I got calcium deposits this deep in there.
Oh my God. Well, definitely South Shore is much higher road. Yeah.
Right.
How's that compare with other municipalities as far as?
Well, I talked to Kevin about that, I don't like to do that. I'm gonna show you one, but the problem with that. It's hard to do, I'll show you one though. But you guys have a lagoon, they're relatively inexpensive to operate. Now you go to a community that has a mechanical plant, 24/7, manned, you can't, in number of customers. I got a system at Narrow Lake I help out. They have a sewer system and it's only 90 people left to pay for that. Their sewer bill's $150 a month and they're broke, they can't, they don't have enough money to buy
We have a
pumps.
400 and some thousand budget or something.
Oh, that was a different one. Oh, that was, yeah. But this is. That's actually it's Duck Lake, different Duck Lake, in Clarence Township.
It's Lady Rapids, right?
Yeah, sorta, yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I did one for them, and they, actually, they adopted $60 after I did my little spiel. Guy stood up and he goes, "You sure $56 is enough?" And I said, "Well, it's just the bare minimum." He goes, "Let's go 60. I'm like, "Okay, go 60. Now, they do, I think, have a lot less customers than you, if I remember right. So that's part of the reason why they're more, they got less people trying to pay for their system.
You gotta compare apples with apples, and I'm
Right.
just thinking, a lagoon, for example, Stanton's got a lagoon,
Yep.
Carson's got a lagoon.
I wish I had, I don't know if I got Stan's race study, I did a race study for Stan, and they are going way up, because they got some big projects.
I think Carson gets help from the prison.
Right.
I don't know how much. But I know what they use in water, they pay in sewer.
Oh, so theirs isn't a flat rate like ours,
Carson?
Carson.
Yeah,
No,
Duck,
They go off water usage.
they only got 415 customers on that Duck, so.
And theirs is cheaper to run because they just dump in Fish Creek out of the last pond.
That helps us drive a little bit.
Yeah.
And you guys do, your budget is relatively inexpensive. You run a tight ship, you don't have much of an operating expense. I don't know if I saved it. But I about rolled over. I did one, just started one yesterday, but I don't know if I saved it.
So is that something the board votes on to, raise it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are we looking at for taking out of, our fund balance, your fund balance coming?
What's that?
150 out of fund balance?
It was 150.
Well, that's to jumpstart this project this fall.
We need to act on,
Other than-
jump at $10, then go 3% a year.
Right, but shouldn't we also okay him doing that right now too, so we can start whenever he can?
Be efficient.
Yeah, do both. Are you comfortable with that? Would you like a little bit more to be able to work with at the beginning, or, you're there doing the
I'm
work?
going right along with Matt, what he's come up with, and
I would say for the first year or two, then like I say, we can reevaluate. 'Cause we know we're fine for the first few years. And we'll have a really good, was a new rate structure,
Right,
we'll have a really good grasp of, that was, we got all our numbers right and.
right.
Yeah.
So I would make,
Otherwise, we're starting at maybe if you go down and pass it, January, July first, we're gonna go around the clock for a while before we can do this.
well, sure,
We can jumpstart and get it going and start collecting.
no, I would like to make a motion that, we allow him to use $150,000 out of fund balance and then raise the sewer rates to $30 a month.
I'll second.
You wanna add that 3%?
And then, okay, if you want, then that would be a separate resolution.
Wait. So a fund balance of 150 or take 150 from the 500?
Yes, from the fund balance.
From the
Use
fund-
150 fund balance.
Use 150 fund balance.
Right, isn't the 500 in his fund balance?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why wouldn't, well,
But I just want to clarify the wording.
yeah, that's where we're coming from.
Yeah, use 150, okay, you can keep going.
Raise the rates to $30 per month,
Effective,
effective July 1. That's when your next set of bills come out, correct? Yeah, it's gotta be.
Yeah, I think
Hopefully she's got time.
July first.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you,
Well, that should be the next quarter.
can you give a little notice to everybody?
Well, we just did.
2 weeks.
and then.
Okay, and if this is gonna be a resolution rather than a motion, the resolution should be that it should be
The
separate.
increase
It
should be by
the
right.
resolution should be separate from the motion that do a yearly 3% increase.
Okay, so you made the motion, Sarah seconded.
Seconded, yep.
Discussion?
Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Yeah, and that would be a resolution. Now, do we need to get a process we gotta go through to do that, perhaps? Check into it and we will
Warning.
get back to that, okay? We won't do that, but we'll do the 3%, but we gotta check with, I think, our lawyer.
I've got a question, 'cause I didn't get this in. Can this go to this meeting?
What
The
is it?
estimate for them 29 holes,
Yeah, I guess.
to have them 29 holes done? Cause he called me the other day and I said our board meeting's coming up. and
Oh, isn't, you have our jumpstart, right?
Yeah.
Kevin, that's gonna have you too, that, you guys have a loan through the USDA,
Yeah.
and when you have a USDA loan, they got two things that are secured money.
Well, it's actually the county holds that loan.
Okay.
for us. And then Janet pays the county,
Yeah.
right? County.
Right, to
So when you got a loan, you got this thing called RRI, repair, replace, or improve. They make you stash that money away, but you can use that money for
Especially
repair.
for that.
Yes, so I would check to see if that's an accurate number. That seems really low,
Okay.
if that was likely low. But if not, even that 16,000, you might as well use that, because that's all you can use it for.
You wanna have Janet check on that, Kevin?
Yeah, well, I'll see if that's the updated number.
Because that's what that money is, when you take that loan, that's what they make you pay that, and it's for repair, replacement, or improve, as a system ages. So, kind of. A lot of communities
Okay.
look it over.
When does the increase start?
July 1st.
So September, we're gonna bill for 90, or we're gonna get a bill July first?
July.
Yeah, July, yeah.
July.
2 weeks.
$30, right? Or, oh, no, we.
It's per month.
30.
You got a quarterly bill.
And then next
So it's
year,
gonna go from 60 to 90.
then next year I'll go up 3% more.
Can I just make a suggestion? You've got people, elderly community here that only get a check once a month. If you give them a month's notice, that,
That's not how the bills come out, and
I know.
they don't have, they have more than 30 days to pay that bill.
Just saying.
I don't
It's an
think we're in
elderly
a position to just not do
community.
anything like
I got
that.
my budget.
What's the process of lining a hole? What do they do to line it?
It's mostly cleaning it. It has to be super clean, and it has to be dry, so they put dryers down in there.
Yep.
and they have to grout it on the outside. They'll grout all the cracks in, and then when they're all done, they spray line it.
Okay, so some kind of a plastic liner?
No,
Ink?
can't think of the name of it now.
It's like a rubber almost.
Yeah, it's orange, I know that.
But if
I got the literature, I think, back to shop on what they spray. And there's a lot of, you can't do apples to apples either. Everybody sprays this kind of stuff or this kind of stuff. I've been happy with these guys since 2011. What they spray has worked for us.
What's the warranty on the liner?
10 years.
Okay, well,
I've got one that's done in 2011, 10-year warranty, no complaints today. Our influence structure's been done in 2011. That's the first time I used it.
So I make a motion to go ahead and allow him to hire them to do the 24, or 29 manhole covers for
$2,650.
I'll second.
Motion by Elise, seconded by Sarah. Advanced Rehabilitation Technology for $82,650. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
Okay, let's get that to them. It's not gonna be done until.
Okay. Okay.
Because of our time.
Right,
Right,
yeah,
yeah.
but that way you know you
You
can
can
start,
do it whenever
They
something
can
happens.
schedule.
yeah,
Okay.
get on your schedule, that's all.
That moves us down to correspondence. Uptown County Drain Commissioner sent us a letter. They're gonna spray those ditches.
Oh, want it back? Probably.
You guys really don't wanna stick around.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you for all the
Thank
presentation.
Unfinished business. Cash handling, that's still on hold or?
No, it's not.
No.
No. Hang on. Everybody grab their paperwork before that resolution, because I've got some things to go over in that. It's in there someplace. And it's the actual resolution. Was everybody, yep, I'm gonna wait.
Is this one for?
No, it's the,
It should be before that,
Should be
but I don't know what. Well, okay,
Go ahead and start.
all right, you can read mine, okay?
yeah,
So page 2,
Prevention powers.
no, the one,
no, it should be before that.
Yeah.
7E. Second sentence, we do not have a cash register, that sentence doesn't even need to be there.
I agree.
And I know that one that I typed up, I had gotten rid of that.
Okay.
Then go to, that was 2, 3, 4. Number 9, okay, authorize individual departments, no, clerk's office receiving cash or checks. Nobody else can take, I mean, my deputy and I could, but normally they go to you. We don't have individual departments that are taking money for the township, right?
Mm-hmm. So that sentence could be coming out?
Clerk's office, oh, what I wanted to change it to is clerk's office receiving, and then the word cash or check.
Would Janet be covered in that though?
You could put fluke or sewer department, but the sewer department is not gonna turn their money over to me to deposit because they make their own state account.
Right, but if they're a department of us, you're the treasurer,
Well, prove that to everybody else. They have their own stuff.
the money should go through you because we're the umbrella over the top.
Granted, yes, it should be, that is not the way this has been set up or done.
No.
Okay.
I disagree with it too, but that's the way they play the game. Number 10. Okay, the very last sentence, we're not gonna add if that occurs, we're gonna get rid of if that occurs, because that's not gonna occur. No one else,
From furthermore to the end of the paragraph.
no. Let's go down, 1, 2, 3, 4th line, at township offices.
Oh, yeah,
Stop.
yeah.
And then
Period.
the rest of it can go.
Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first part is just saying, no, it comes into the people that take it.
She said the whole,
The whole thing from.
and if that occurs.
Right, offices period, get rid of the rest of
Okay.
it. And that's what my thoughts were. Anybody else wanna?
I had a question under I on page 3, treasurer accepts cash in full, only adhering to over/under policy recommended by MTA.
Where are we at, what number?
It would be 7I.
And my question is,
And, I go by MTA's over and under, I don't even go by the county's over and under. I went on something that we established when I first was here.
right, but that's why I'm questioning that statement.
It's, yeah. I'm still trying to find it.
Can't we change the MTA to board? Because you said the board.
I would think so.
Yeah.
All right. My other question is previous page, where is it? Oh, because I don't have combinations, I don't even have combination to the treasurer's office, let alone the safe or the,
Both of our DPW guys that changed that said they would give you guys combinations.
yeah, I don't have them, so I
Okay.
need those.
That is not a problem. To the office and to the safe, right?
Yes.
Yes. Not a problem.
And then
In
there's,
fact, Mike cleaned up my combination, I didn't even make it up.
I don't have it. But
It was
then,
fine.
number 6 says the clerk's office is responsible for electronically receiving all cash receipts into the township general ledger.
Mhm.
And from the information I received from MTA, that should include the tax account?
No.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah, MTA training says that.
How are you going to come into my tax system and do my receipting instead of my deputy and I doing it?
I'm not sure, but there
I'll call
needs-
MTA because that's not true. Yeah.
Well, I have a copy of something that I got from an MTA training on internal controls
Okay,
for the the tax account.
okay.
And that was, so the treasurer provides the amount of the total tax levied to the clerk. The
Well, the tax
treasurer,
levy is the tax bill, it's the warrant. That's what the levy is,
okay, so I need
that's
that.
a warrant.
And then the treasurer reports deposits and distributions to the clerk.
Oh, you can have those. Oh, I know what though, they want you to have a spreadsheet to make sure that all the money I take in is going into the bank, and that's not a problem, you can have those.
Right, so I would need that.
Yeah, you don't receipt my checks, you can have
Right.
copies of what they are.
Okay.
And which is why when we're doing the scanner, we were gonna buy that scanner. So that, because I don't wanna make copies of checks anymore, so I'll work out how, once I scan them in there,
And then I'll get copies of the deposits for the tax
we'll
account.
do it just like we do the general.
Perfect.
So where are we at with that one?
So,
What
the training
changes?
can be sent back. Changes made.
Yep. I'll revise it again and try to move on it next month.
Yep.
Yeah, and the tax levy is just the warrant. And I got my warrant signed, so I can give you a copy of my warrant. You do realize you can't balance with that though, because of board of review, tax tribunal, you're never gonna get that.
Okay, expenditure policy.
Okay, let's look at
The only question I had on that was on the first page, $3,000 or more requires a purchase order.
this. Yeah,
And quotes must be submitted with a purchase order.
yeah, we don't do purchase
Right.
orders, that's why I wanted everybody to look at this and get back with me.
That was my only question change on it.
Oh, no, I don't have the right one, Pat. Oh, okay, thank you. I kept looking at this one, sorry. It wouldn't be a purchase order, what would it be? Unless you want to start issuing purchase orders. So it's more of, there's a certain dollar amount that basically, what was it, that the lawyer said? If it's in your budget, yes, now if you're gonna go buy a vehicle. So how do you wanna work around that?
It it could just be a board vote.
So but work around what the lawyer had said to us. If it's in your budget, you can spend it, just don't go spend a vehicle without going to the board.
Right.
Well, and I think that kind of leads itself to it anyway, because this is equipment and vehicles over $33,000, have to have the 3 quotes and all that, so it's kind of covered in that. Because then you're gonna have the 3 quotes and the board's gonna have to approve it anyway. So if we just take out,
That first line.
leave out the requires, more require 3 a purchase order, take that out.
Take that out, okay.
So real,
So then,
so
That
anything,
line
yeah,
can
that
be
first line,
taken out.
anything over between 3,000 and 15,000, maybe
so start with
purchase.
items, is that what you want?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
start with
Don't you
items,
think?
okay.
And then take out all price quotes must be submitted to take out with the purchase order request.
Right,
Yep,
sounds good.
that's all I have.
Something on the second page, oh, conference travel, considering the fact that next year it's gonna be in Grand Rapids, parking better be added to that very first paragraph under conference travel, just the very last word.
Oh, yeah.
Public transportation and parking? Right there, is that what she's saying? No, where is she?
She's saying right here under.
After meals and millage.
Oh, okay,
Mileage,
Just put
parking.
parking.
Yep.
okay.
One-time revenue spending puzzles me, I'm trying to decipher it. You're talking about revenue received,
Last page.
Sorry, I thought you were done.
one-time revenue spending. They're talking about revenue received on a one-time basis. Just make sure we don't turn around and spend it on something that's perpetual, going on forward. So I guess that does make sense. That's all I had.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? This is something, I had Sue work on this project, so before we go forward. Printing out all of the general bank reconciliations, canceled checks. I have 6 months and the stack is this high. So, my thought is this. What, normally our auditor is the one that wants to see a canceled check? All she's gotta do is let me know, I'm the one that's only supposed to have the online access to the bank account, and I can pull the check. I will, however, give you all the ones that I've printed, because I don't want them in my office. You know, they say to do that, but I'm like, look at all this, because
Oh, 3 years.
unfortunately with hunting, what?
3 years or 7 years?
No, that was 6 months.
Yeah, but how long are you supposed to keep them? 3 or 7 years, aren't you?
Okay, the bank, I'd have to find out how long the bank's gonna give us online access, that would be the next
Yeah,
thing. But the problem with Huntington, each individual check has to be copied on one sheet of paper. That's what makes the stack of papers. Now, at Sydney, they're right there in my reconciliation, and I just print it. It's right there.
I'll check on that for you, because I remember seeing.
I called my contact.
Really?
And she said, well, you could try and see what your boss could do. But she said, no, that's how you have to print those checks.
It's printed.
I remember, this is a commercial.
Statements for a business, and the statement had all of them. There was
Attached?
4 on a sheet, front and back.
Okay, find out.
So I'll
Find out
have to
how,
look
because
and
ours
see
did
how
not
that
come
is.
that way, and that would be really nice.
I'll see how that's set up.
Okay.
Well, I will talk to my boss to see how that is set up, because I can't get in the account.
Yeah,
So,
maybe it's something special he's able to do.
yeah, I'll talk to him.
Okay. I just figured it couldn't be done. She just
Yeah,
said,
we-
well, see what the bank manager says. He's your contact at that branch because he's the manager. So,
I wonder if it was the TCF job. Anyway, I'll find out. I will talk to him.
all right. Okay, done.
Okay, that moves us down to B, sewer department, ag contract resolution. I don't know who wants it, I'm gonna abstain from all of her.
So here's the resolution that was asked to develop, to enter into the leases for the crop leases that were on.
So I'm gonna do a motion to approve the resolution approving Crystal Township entering into 2 crop leases.
Where's the attached? Both of them have exhibit A, exhibit B, and there's no attachment.
Yeah, the leases.
Oh, the leases, you should have already had those when you, before.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's
They're
supposed to be
supposed to-
attached.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we can,
I don't have more than-
I'll second that motion.
I don't have more than-
Do we have discussion?
yeah, I wanna see the leases.
Well, there's the leases that we got several months ago that we were gonna approve last month, and then we didn't because we said we needed this resolution.
Well, I think we talked about needing that resolution 2 or 3 months ago, but, I just assumed that they'd be here so we could look at them.
From what I remember, they were well crafted and very thorough.
Yes, they were. No, I have some homework.
So, you're okay with not looking at them again?
I'm okay with not looking at it.
I'm gonna do a roll call vote. Alicia?
Yes.
Pat, yes. Nancy?
I think I'd asked a question that I was hoping could be answered. Are
I-
you okay with
I
not
answered the
looking at them
question.
again?
I poured through them the first time,
Okay.
and yes, they are very comprehensive, and the township is well covered in them. Everybody who's been paying attention to the whole saga knows I'm not down with the whole thing, but that document is crafted very well.
Okay, all right, back to me, yes.
Johnson? Daly?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so now we got the resolution to enter into the crop leases. Do we want to approve the crop leases for McCracken Farms?
Do we have them for him to sign?
We have them for him to sign, yeah. We have those in January. I think this
So then you could read it, Nancy.
Hmm?
Here.
I think that's the same one as Alicia's got. Here's a copy of it.
Yeah, it's the same one we've seen,
Yeah,
so I'm okay.
I would,
Henry.
I would make a do you wanna make the motion, Alicia, to approve the lease with McCracken Farms?
I motion to approve the lease for McCracken Farms.
I'll second that. That motion. Discussion? Alicia?
Yes.
Pat, yes. Nancy?
Yes.
Sarah?
No.
Okay. And then, because you guys were presented with the one for Martin's, and that hasn't been given to him yet, but I wanted everybody to look at that and make sure that was okay to give to Carl to review, so then he can say, if, you know, he wants to enter into that or not. So I would make a motion that we turn this lease over to Martin Farms, or whatever they call it,
Right.
and get their input. Okay?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Any discussion? I don't think we need a roll call vote because we're not doing an actual lease, we're just, okay. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
And I think how I read or took that information about a resolution was a general resolution for the board to be able to rent, buy, sell, lease, not a detailed one for an
For one
individual.
one particular area, and that is true, it's a resolution to be able to do any of those things.
Because when I talked to the attorney, I gave him the law or whatever, and that's what he came up with.
Yeah, it is, it's to lease, to sell.
Yeah.
Because that was my understanding from our conversation.
Right,
Anyway.
which was on that, training. video.
Right.
Okay, that moves us down to Seed Park project. They've been working the last 2 days on putting the soaker hoses in. I don't know if they got it done today or not. Waiting between consumers and getting it wired, we're waiting for that too. But other than that, they're about ready to turn it on.
Okay, please make sure you approach them about that $3,000 discrepancy.
And then supposedly when they're done with that, they'll supposedly level our mess off out back.
Are they gonna charge us for doing that?
They ain't supposed to.
Well, then let's just say no, they're not going to.
We're not seeding it, but they're level.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe we should act on that.
What?
On seeding that.
Say that again?
Dan, what's the guy's name? Dan, that's doing the work up
Oh,
here.
Spencer?
Spencer told me when we was up there with the well and stuff, that he said, we'll get that level, and he says, I can give you a night. He says they would probably, kind of seeding are they doing? Hydro seeding for $1,200.
It doesn't seem like it. My only caution is that it needs rain.
Right. I don't know what, talk, have to use one of the brush trucks with water.
Well, no. What we need to look at is getting it done in the fall,
Well, if I could.
you know, let them level it.
But I know the last bid we got was $2,000.
But that's the one that said it has to be watered this
Right.
way.
Yeah.
You know, have them level it, and then, yeah, it's gonna look bad for a while,
Okay.
and then, because they will start growing again. There's a lot of rocks out there.
Yeah, they got some picking up though.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us down to single garbage hauler.
Okay, so we're gonna put D and E, single hauler garbage and leaf pickup, kind of in the same basket for a minute. Cause there are some of these issues that, dude who was here earlier said we'd be happy to be a sad district to get our leaves done. And a whole lot of the things that seem to be inflection points in this township are kind of centered around that. So in looking at lawful township expenditures and how to do it correctly and not unequally, I think it's worth a discussion to ask CLA board to get involved, and the Crystal Heights board to get involved, and the Duck Lake board to get involved. And some of those things that are issues that residents in those associations want, a cooperative contract with the township to provide them, because then it's lawful. And then the leaf sucker can still go around the lake and possibly single hauler garbage if there's a buy-in for that. But it would avoid being unequal, number one. It would avoid special assessment districts and people saying I'm in it or I'm not, or doing patchwork with either one of those issues. Just a thought.
The only thing, but the first thing that I think of, Sarah, I like that idea, is the side streets aren't part of the lake association. I mean, they're welcome to join, but typically, these people over here take it.
That's not necessarily true, anybody can join the Lake Association.
That's what I said, they can join, but typically, the side streets aren't considered part of the lake association. So those people I know take advantage of the leaf pickup and those types of things, so.
For sure, but we're at 3 out of 4, so
Right,
can we
right.
keep working with
Right.
what
So-
else can we do to make this work for who and where we are and township legality?
Would that be paid out of the township or for the people?
It would be paid out of those groups to the township, because the rest of the township does not benefit from any of those programs. You know, it's the concentrated areas, and I have had way more than 10 people say, I'll pay for it, put me on an assessment district, but when you start building those up, that gets all weird. When, later in
And
like a cake.
The one that I think of too is Loon Lake, the Spencer Road. Those people call and they say, we want our lease, you know, we got our lease by the road, come pick them up. But, you know, those are few and far in between, but those are people who think about also.
I think we wanna watch doing that, especially with the leaf. Like how long it took us to get parts when we broke down. So who's responsible? These people are paying us, who's responsible for getting the
Well,
ladies?
they're paying a different way, and that's why they're upset when they're paying taxes and having that service, and looking at township expenditures and how they're supposed to flow.
Right. But if they pay and we break down,
And that will have to be put into some kind of agreement of, you know, we're gonna make every effort possible to keep our machinery running, but real life happens, and I think everybody understands that if they're all on the same page off the get-go.
Right, you keep parts on hand too.
Sometimes it's expensive to do that.
Right.
This is a whole housing, you don't keep a whole
$3,000.
housing on hand.
we spent $3,000 for a house and you don't just keep one of them on the shelf.
Yeah,
You
that's the
do,
whole
though.
machine.
You do.
Well, I guess if you guys start paying, yeah, we could.
You do.
But you're right.
I think
But
it's a good idea.
that
It started by
I do
maybe
too.
collaboration.
Okay. Okay, we're down to the beach lease. As you know, a couple of months ago, we talked about giving it up. Well, we did send a letter to Garrett.
We didn't talk about it, we
We
voted.
voted.
We voted.
We sent a letter. But since then, Devin DeBarro,
Yes.
he's came willing to give us $5,000 towards the park. And Garrett's willing to drop $1,000 off.
So what?
This cannot last anytime past Labor Day.
Well, right now, we're done if we don't do this.
Then I guess we're done.
Well, that's why we're bringing it up.
This cannot last past Labor Day. We
Nice.
don't
But-
How much was
need
the
that
lease to
in the
begin with?
winter.
What's
What
that?
was the lease to begin with?
It was 90, that's what I was.
$9,600,
$800 a month.
and he dropped it down to 86, and Devin's gonna get
88, right.
5,000, what?
It was, it's supposed to be 800, right?
Right.
Times 12.
It's 96.
Yeah,
We
96.
discussed this, we had the opportunity to meet, and we voted, so I'm a little unclear
We
here.
don't need it in the winter. And I know when I talked to Garrett, I said, Garrett, we'll go through Labor Day. You know? But after that, we don't need it in the
Well,
winter. We should be
Unequal
paying
of
for that.
township funds. Just what you've been discussing.
That's what we discussed all along.
Taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for this anymore.
You don't think parking is important? Well, I guess I don't need to talk to the
Not
parking.
after Labor Day. It is
Not at all.
No.
And then we are going to try to create more of our parking on the places we own. We have this parking lot. We have some up in the park. If we had the extra money, and I pointed this out before, maybe that edge of Meyer Street, this side of the property.
And we have plenty of on-street parking during the day everywhere.
Yeah. We need to be putting into what we own.
So you're saying if you had kids, it was all full down here, you'd park on Main Street and try to get all your young.
Guess what?
We've done it before.
Okay, time out. If we're gonna get folksy, I come from South Haven, and I'm a country person from South Haven. So when I would take my kids in, yes, I would have to park and haul all the stuff in, because that's what you do when you go to the beach.
There's lots of public parking at South Haven though.
Only if you
none.
wanna pay for it, and if you live in the country, you don't get a permit.
I make a motion that we continue the beach lease or the parking lease with Garrett for $8,600, $8,600 for the next year, accepting the donation of $5,000 from LCP.
So leave us responsible for 3,600.
Yes.
You said
For
it
a
was
year, we're
85.
gonna have
For
people
1
use
year
it
lease.
less than 3 months. That's my discussion.
And we spent $750,000 on a beach.
85.
And we've already paid over $50,000 for this.
You know what,
I need a
Their
motion.
park, all
I'm
the way
gonna
from the
second
park
the
to my
motion.
place is
I
around
need
the
a
corner.
motion.
I'm gonna
That's
second
how
the
beach
motion.
towns are.
Wait a
We've got
minute,
a motion on the
I
floor.
thought you said 85. I thought you said he dropped it from 96 to 85.
No, you dropped
$1,000 off.
Okay.
Devin agreed to pay 5,000, so that leaves 3,600 that the township.
Patty
would
need a
reimburse.
motion, do I have a second?
I second it.
Motion by Patty, second by Leash to extend it for a year. Those terms. Any more discussion?
I think it's an unequal use.
It is.
It's an unequal use, whether it's 96 or whether it's 36.
It's horrible if it goes past Labor Day. It should not be done.
Should be doing it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed. And by the way,
Motion carried, 3-2.
what are you gonna do with that motion we've already passed?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you've already passed and I'm
We
doing
already
it.
passed
Last
one
meeting,
to
you
terminate.
already passed this motion.
We didn't
Before
pass
that.
the last meeting.
Yes, you
It
did.
was
It's a
two
meeting
meetings.
before that.
Two
Well,
meetings.
you
Already
passed it.
passed it.
2 meetings
We
before.
terminated that lease and we're entering into a new lease for the next year.
And that had better not be another ongoing, always renewed lease, like the last one was. Please.
I just love this, how this board works.
What year is, what is it, from July to July, June to June, what is the year
That's,
lease?
I asked that question. I
It's
told them.
July,
To
the
July?
first one was to June, and then the second one we did was to July. But if we got out of it, and then it went back to the original one to June.
Okay, this next
Real
one
clear
needs
as
to
mud.
What
end
is it?
before
June to
Memorial
June?
Day, so
What's
that
that?
people
Is it June to
aren't
June then?
thinking.
Well, by rights, because we got out of it, now we're a new one.
What is it, Garrett?
This new one needs to end before Memorial Day, otherwise
Well,
we're gonna
the
be
motion
stuck.
was for 1 year.
Yeah, the motion was for 1 year.
What date is
July 1st to
So you
July
guys are
1st.
gonna end up with people just as confused next year, cause there's the sign now, I can use this, you guys are paying for it.
So
And they're not gonna be coming over here where they could park for us.
why are we paying for bar parking?
Yeah.
That's what I
This is
said.
bullshit.
It is.
Keep going.
Okay, it puts us down to new business, sewer department.
We did the,
B, Recreation Commission.
we have an ordinance that we're supposed to have a recreation commission. So,
Does the ordinance provide for how we populate that commission?
board appointment.
Okay.
And how many members?
Not even sure. So I think we,
David might know.
I think 5, that's ordinance number
Five.
18, isn't it?
mm-hmm, I don't have it with me.
And he answered the questions.
I think
Five.
it's 5.
Five.
But I think it's something that we need to look at.
Yes, I agree. Is there a way that we can ask for experience, resumes, level of interest for interested parties? To make a pool from whom to appoint from.
Do we have enough people that would be interested in that type of a position? I guess
Well,
it's.
and that's gonna be, let's take out and put an ad in the newspaper, hit the website, hit the social media, and see what kind of response we get. Because using the resources that are right here on our doorstep is probably smart. Any other discussion?
No, I'm good with that.
I think that Garrett would make a wonderful person to be on the Recreation Commission and maybe start the process for, help us through that steps. He was active in both of the grants the township has gotten. He's, you know, been very helpful with that. He's very interested in the parks. And I think that he would be a good appointment to that, this commission.
I think we probably should get our pool together first so everyone has an equal opportunity to highlight their disciplines and strengths.
Well, I have no experience, but that is one committee I would love to be in.
Me too, and I don't even have a resume for it, like, that's one thing I would like to be involved in, so how would I present myself as that, you know,
I think we're just getting started with this. Didn't
Yeah.
you say, Pat, we needed an ordinance to create one?
No, we have an
We
ordinance.
got an
We have an
ordinance.
ordinance, so now we need to create it. So then now we
We gotta
need to
fill it.
have, people apply, correct?
So just submit a letter of interest and
Letter
resume if you
of
want.
interest.
Have it by the next board meeting.
Yep.
There you go.
Okay.
Next one, move us down the seed journey. Answer, Sarah, you talk.
I don't talk to anybody about that.
Sarah.
We got an email.
I talked with Jeremy. Jeremy, you're here. I'm probably gonna butcher your words a bunch. Access. We could do a remote desktop, but that has its own issue. We could do an email distribution list. So, like, Pat, since you're the one basically who is the information getter and contact person for everything, you'd have a list. It'd come out to just the 5 of us. And then we could share information that way. We could do a Microsoft 365 license to the tune of $100 to $150 a year.
Yeah, but you guys already have several of those licenses, I think.
Right, but not all of us.
No, right, so you'd have to add a couple.
So getting the information is like primary on the thing. Email distribution is free. Microsoft is pretty darn cheap. So, did I hit all those things?
I thought we were gonna talk about.
That's what I thought we were gonna do.
Well, that's on there too, but Sarah had asked for this
Okay.
to be on there before.
Gotcha.
Well, because
Right.
I would love for the information to flow more freely, so like, you know, when we're here, we know, park commission, okay, here's the history on the park commission. It is disseminated to all you guys before we're sitting here in front of everybody.
As it's been pointed out, somebody's gotta give us that information. Somebody's gotta disseminate it, so that ends up being our stopgap, right there. I have a question on this, Jeremy, that ties into something that, we had talked about in a budget meeting. We want our 2 trustees to have read-only access to, let's say, general ledger. So can we include that in this? They can use one of our workstations, they just need a security sign-in.
Yeah, we could set up sign-ins for whomever,
Okay.
that's not an issue. And then it would just be a BSA permissions.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah, which Pat does.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, can we include that in our monthly thing, that we have our extra people that actually should have that, have it? It's the security sign-in, we've got the workstations.
Yeah,
They're not working at it every day, they're looking at it when they need to.
Brandon,
the boss.
Brandon, yes, I signed the checks and changed the toilet paper rolls.
Oh,
But
Hired.
Brandon would be the best one to ask for that. I'm gonna say most likely that there wouldn't be an additional charge for that, but I'd want you to run that by Brandon.
Okay.
And see, the other question that I have, and it's maybe a good time to ask it, is Jeremy, the conversation at the budget meeting was, instead of paying the price that we pay for CMS for a laptop, we should just go to Walmart and buy 2 laptops for our trustees.
Well, no, because then, why, when we've got laptops, they can have a sign-in for it?
We did talk about that.
Yeah.
And you were right, we did talk about
That was the conversation, so I'm asking that. Would that be more acceptable to, or why would we wanna do that?
No.
Well, what we found in the past, when customers have done that, then when they do have a problem, then it's all billable because we didn't supply the hardware.
Right.
And we usually end up, so we encourage that because we usually end up making more money that way than if we supply the equipment, because we
I
make very
can't see
little
buying
on
2
the
more
equipment.
laptops, quite frankly.
Okay, but that was part of the conversation.
Well, and I don't wanna keep track of it, it's more about the information, it's
Right.
just, there's a number of ways to skin a cat, to
Yeah.
turn the phrase, but there are. But getting information is the part that we're falling off wagon on, and whether it's on the server, by an email list, having to log in on somebody's computer, I don't care, I'll do any of them.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
let's check with Brandon, and do we have a current contract that's gonna expire real soon?
What is the
Says.
date on this? Expiration date 6/8.
Sorry.
How's that?
Yep. So I think, I'm gonna make the motion to approve this contract with CMS during IT for their IT services, again, for another year. And then we will pursue the cost of having 2 additional sign-ons and present that at next.
Had you checked with anyone on what I had pointed out in the bill?
Yes, and if you notice on the one, we can stop the fax machine, so we won't be charged for that anymore.
Okay.
And that other bill that looked like your duplicate, at the end of the first page, at the bottom it says Fire Barn. So this service is at the top of the second page of Fire Barn. The
Okay.
four,
Even though it has your Mount Pleasant address. which
yeah,
is
the
confusing.
the 4 phones are mine. They were yours, probably Kurt's, and Head Start.
And what?
Head Start.
Head Start has a separate bill at the bottom.
But that was, I got that email today.
And
but I
that's
had
got a
yours on.
separate one.
So I'll
There's
ask
4
about
on
that.
ours and 1 separate under Head Start.
Right.
We don't have 4. Head Starts was separated on page 2. Ours said 4 under us on page 1. We
That
have
was
3
his
phones.
that was his answer to me, and I didn't have a chance.
Who'd you talk to?
Brandon.
Well, we need to approach him about that. That's not the way that bill reads at all. It says 4 phones for, the township on the first page, and we're billed accordingly. We have 3. Second page is a separate bill for the Head Start phone with 1 phone, and that's billed too.
Would one be sewer?
His answer was it was Head Start,
Oh.
but I will ask him further and get clarification.
Head Start's separate page, separate charge.
So I made a motion to approve the quote from Journey IT, or CMS, excuse me, for $1,282.22 yearly.
Monthly. yeah.
Monthly.
But it would be nice if it was yearly, Karen.
I'll second that.
Motion by Patty, second by Alicia, to accept CMS contract. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Wi-Fi ending line element adjustment.
So it's the end of year line item adjustments, and everybody got a copy of the expenditure report today. I don't know where mine's at.
One dated 6/12.
Yeah, so we need to
Here's someone.
adjust over budget line items.
How about one where you don't have anything in there and you receive money? Isn't that just as important?
Yep. So we need to adjust the revenues and expenditures.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we adjust the line items, individual line items of the budget for the revenues and expenditures for fiscal year 6/30/2024 as needed.
You're not gonna tell us any of them?
Well, they're all, you guys got them. So,
Well, that's just a
Like,
blank, that's a blanket, that's a blank check.
On page 2.
well, you know, I mean, it's money received, it's money that's gone out, so they need to be adjusted.
So FICA and their government buying needs to be adjusted, is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
And you're gonna have Medicare that needs to be adjusted.
Yep.
Membership dues needs to adjust.
Yeah,
We're good there.
like a clerk.
Yep, FICA clerk, training clerk,
I'm over 113 training.
and you have for the treasurer was over 4 cents, so we gotta adjust that.
That's under, Alicia.
Under.
That's
Oh.
under. Comment is under.
I'm sorry.
Parentheses is under.
I meant the
FICA,
one, yeah, the
Medicare
FICA.
and training for the treasurers
Yeah.
over transportation, so that needs to be
Yeah.
adjusted.
Oh, you know, that was my question. Sue and I's mileage goes under transportation and Alicia's goes under, or going to transportation, and Alicia's went under something else.
I
For
said,
reimbursement.
Mileage governing body.
Yeah, mileage governing body.
I think,
No, it wasn't even mileage, it was training governing body.
right, the reimbursement you got last month for driving to Traverse City came out of your training.
Correct.
So why didn't mine, is what I was
Yours
saying.
did.
Oh.
Hers came out of training, and hers came out of governing body trainings, that's where
So you
Liz.
didn't put mine under transportation last month? You
No.
sure?
I
I think you did.
can look at that and adjust
I'm
that.
just, you know, to keep it,
Yeah, and that's the difference, Nancy, is when you go to the bank, it's transportation, but when it was training, Traverse City, it was training.
right.
But I will
I
double check that.
think that was under transportation with that. Have to look at this from
Yeah,
last
I
month.
can look at it, but.
I might have one of these from other than. So I understand where it is, I was just wondering why they were two separate places.
That was where we leave off.
So where did we leave off? We just got finished with treasurer,
Mhm.
right?
And then the assessor is a little bit more in.
Software.
Yeah,
Software, postage.
software, postage. Supplies for DPW or building grounds up is $128 over. Repair and maintenance, what's that one? That's over a lot.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that is.
I don't either.
Oh, 'cause I included the well in there. So that's not,
But the well should go under the park.
yep, see, that's, right there's,
Signing.
that should be moved to park. I think when I did that, I was thinking it's a well that, you know, potentially is gonna be used, but it's gonna be used for the park anyway for potential bathrooms, so that's why I put it in building and grounds, but
So-
it can be moved.
All of the cemeteries need adjusting.
All the cemeteries need adjusting, we've had more this year there. We're okay on police, we need $500 for the, marine patrol and police. Roads are okay. Fire department. 345 over. Office expenses are a little bit over, they're over in utilities, 'cause electric, and then they're over in maintenance and repairs. You just put $7,500, $8,000 into the well audit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not even on here.
And
Is
then,
it? Yes, it is,
yeah,
there it is,
yeah.
maintenance repairs, gotcha. Yeah,
and then the equipment, when the boat, and I'm not sure what else they purchased. But so those are the line items that I would like to increase as needed. That was my motion.
So you wanna look at Fund 296,
What is that, I'm sorry?
296, the park fund.
296.
So what was it, because this is still showing, that fund is still negative on our bank recs in treasurer's report?
Corrected that.
It's not corrected.
Okay.
Question. So that was all of them?
Yep.
I'll second the motion after going through them.
Motion by Patty, second by Elise, change the line items adjustments as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Meeting dates for 24th, 25.
Make a motion, we approve the meeting dates as presented for the next year.
Can we have a discussion?
Sure.
Can we start, let's see, February or March with budget meetings?
Yes.
Sure.
Can I say that we can do that, but we wouldn't need to include that in our regular, those would be special meetings, separate from.
However, as long as we don't forget.
Separate
about that.
from.
I have a second on the
I'll second.
motion by Patty, second by Sarah to approve our meeting dates. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
So when do you want to start this, Nancy, in January?
February.
No, February, March is really what I said. I don't know, what did they recommend, how many months?
4 to 6 months
4 to 6,
before you
so,
want to pass the budget.
You know,
Okay, G is 24, the budget.
And what about
No,
that?
Salaries, skip salaries. Have the salary resolution.
Oh, yep, salaries.
Here's the resolutions we have.
Had a regular meeting of Crystal Township Board held on June 12, 24. Beginning at 7, the Crystal Community Center, the following resolution was offered for adoption by the Township Board. Member,
somebody's gotta do that.
start out with Patty.
No, I think that's not the way that's worded.
So who's gonna make the motion?
I'll make the motion for the clerk, is the one I have in my hand. I don't know which one you're looking at.
I think that's mine
Oh,
there.
oh,
You're at the clerks?
that's the one I had in my hand.
Okay, we
Sorry.
can do the clerks.
Clerk salary 15,808. Which is a 4% increase.
Second by Township Board member,
Is this a salary increase?
and a second.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not seconding myself, my own.
I'll second it.
Are you kidding me?
Okay. Alicia,
Yes.
Pat, I'm gonna abstain from my own Kurt.
Yeah.
Nancy,
No,
Sarah.
No.
Now we're on to the next one.
So the next one I have would be for the treasurer, 15,808, which is a 4% increase.
You made that motion?
Yes, that was the motion, sorry.
I'll second it. Alicia?
Yes.
Oh, we didn't have discussion, I'm
Oh.
sorry. Just trying to rush us through.
Set.
Said we didn't have discussion.
Any discussion on it? Roll call.
All right. Alicia, yes. Pat, yes. Kurt?
Yes.
Nancy?
no,
Sarah?
No.
I have a motion for increase in supervisor's salary to 10,400, which is a 4% increase.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll
Alicia?
call.
Yes.
Pat, yes. Kurt?
Abstain.
Nancy?
no,
Sarah?
No.
Trustee, I'll make a motion that we approve the trustee wage to 4%, which I think is $312.
discussion?
We didn't have a second.
I'm not seconding it because I'm interested.
Kurt,
I'll
second.
second it.
Alicia,
I'm not voting.
Pat, yes, Kurt,
Yeah.
Nancy,
No.
Sarah.
Staying.
Okay, we're gonna have to back up, people, because the way you did this, I'm the only one that got an increase and I'm not taking it.
I guess I'm confused because we had this conversation at the budget meeting.
There was a lot of thought that went in after that. Quite frankly.
So just to be clear, were any of the raises approved?
Just Nancy's.
And I said I'm not taking it.
Okay, so nobody got raises.
What's that?
Nobody got raises in it.
The workers.
Thank God.
I make a motion that we approve the township budget with the change that we had presented at the budget hearing. So there's a resolution attached somewhere. Thank you. So I make a motion that we approve this resolution to approve the annual budget to determine property tax rate for the support of the budget of the 24-25 fiscal year.
One second.
Your numbers aren't gonna be right, because we didn't pass salaries, okay?
Okay, let's adjust that. Okay.
Any roll call on that, do we, or?
Yep. Sarah,
Yay.
Nancy,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Pat, yes, Alicia?
Yes.
Down the parking lot.
Oh, that was Alicia.
Okay, so 2 Mondays ago, not this Monday, but the Monday before, I was out at watching my niece play softball, and I just happened to look over, we were on field 2, I just happened to look over, and there's cars parked behind the tennis courts in the grass.
Yeah.
So is that something we're gonna allow? Because I think that's absolutely, if we're gonna build this park up, which I am so excited about, I think we need to do something there.
What do you wanna do up there? They are so busy, that's where people have to park.
But we had, the whole front field was empty. There was like
No, I've been out
cars.
there before when the whole front field was packed.
Yeah, I mean, when I was there, the whole time I was there, that whole front field was empty except for like 2 rows.
Mine
So there was
does.
plenty of room not to be parking back there behind.
I can
That's just
freely
me.
admit, I parked there before,
Okay.
when I was.
I'm just saying, if we're spending all this money on these park projects, whether, we're starting there, automobile.
It
any
sounds
auto
like with
vehicles?
some of the improvements they're gonna do, that would be not possible anyway. And I know that now T-ball is in that area, I don't know how often T-ball plays.
Yeah, they were parked there again tonight when
And,
I stopped over.
that would be interfering with T-ball, so of course they couldn't there, but yeah, I've seen people park there a lot. Alicia, how you gonna police it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but
Think about how to police it.
I
Do we need to put up?
I just
barriers,
wanted
poles,
opinions
so
on
they can
parking
get their cars
Posts
through?
in the grass.
Posts?
The parking lot along Colby Road needs another entrance to the east side. You need 2 ways in and out, in and out.
You know, you're very true.
Right, and then you put in posts and you put wire through it like you got on the south side of the park.
There you go.
You don't want them to go somewhere, lock them out.
I mean, that's just,
There's
something
something
we
to look
think
at.
about and
You know,
come
this is an
revisit.
area of our park, so maybe when our park.
And we see the park commission,
Right,
then
right,
that could
yeah.
be something that goes to their plate.
Yeah, I just hate to spend all this money on grass and then,
Oh,
Get
people are
money
parking
and-
on the hill,
See.
we saw pickups on top of the hill midway through construction. People do what they wanna do here.
Okay, that moves us down, chamber, they wanna make sure it's still okay to do the farmer's market
I
out
don't
here.
know, they've already been there for 2
I
weeks.
know.
I'd make a resolution they can use the parking lot for the farmer's market.
I'll second it.
A
Motion by Nancy, seconded by Patty, to let them still use our parking lot for farmer's market. Any more discussion?
Well, it's gonna fall in the basket of how are things structured and how does it flow, just like the rentals and the classes and that stuff.
There you go.
I mean, it's been going on, I know it has, but if you follow what townships are supposed to do, we're supposed to be the middle guy in the middle. But just discussion, just my thoughts.
Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, at our park out at Duck Lake. A couple years ago, we approved a pavilion for them, like we did South Shore.
Yep.
Okay.
But then we decided he wanted us to back off and get the
Seawall.
seawall fixed up.
So
Now,
you're
the-
talking about Shepherd?
Yeah.
Okay.
now they're just asking, they don't want the pavilion. They'd like an 8 by 10 cement slab. They could set the picnic table on
And attach it.
fasten it down. Well, it had get anchors in the cement because they have the same problem over there as they do out here. Kids are wanting to take the picnic tables for a ride.
Put it in the water, they float.
And then they want, another cement slab to set the porta potty. Kevin went out the other day with, it was Mitch or Pat. He measured the porta potty needs to be, I think he said 46 by 46. And then that still leaves them where they can anchor to the ground. He called, high grade. It was just a little over a yard of cement. It's $390 because it's a small load.
Oh, yeah.
But that was Kevin said he'd help Mitch and Pat do it.
Even with the area for the picnic table and.
I don't know how much cement that is out there, I don't know.
Yeah.
Originally, I think he said about a yard, but he figured a picnic table, 6 by 6, but I said, no, they want a 6 by 10.
You know, you want
Yeah,
a little, you want room
In case they put a
around,
bigger table
you
there.
want
so-
room around it to
Right.
comfortably walk on there, sit down, you don't wanna
An
stand
8
up
by
and
10
fall off.
will do that.
Right, yeah.
That would do that.
And he says he called Bush Hardware, and they said, well, if they do it yourself, it's gonna take 90 bags of cement, and you're looking at $350. No, that's what I told him.
You know,
But
Okay,
we probably save,
okay.
How big does it have
Okay.
to be more efficient?
How about this? How about this? They've got so much extra time, they could pour this concrete, they can do that.
that's what
They're
Kevin
already,
said.
they're already getting overtime almost every 2 weeks. How much more overtime is this gonna create? Sub it out.
Yeah.
My only question
Yeah.
to that is, because lawn mowing is gonna slow down.
They were getting overtime when they weren't lawn mowing. Seemed like.
I think that overtime is like Memorial Week, where they have to come in and pick the trash up, and they've
Overtime
had
or
grades.
comp time, all the time.
I think we need to look at some signage out there too. That it's
So that would be my thought, is that,
get bids to
get
do
some
Get
bids.
bids and get her done,
Yeah, get some
okay.
bids.
Um,
And
We already-
We need to know for sure what sizes we want.
8 by
8 by 10, and then,
10. And then however big for the.
Porta potty.
is that a handicap porta potty?
no.
No, I don't think so.
4 by 4 then. 42 would be minimal.
Well, Kevin said if you come out too far, then they can't get stakes down to hold the porta potty there.
Oh.
Do we have problems with porta potties being vandalized?
It gets tipped over if it's windy, it's right in the middle of the lots.
They were gonna send it over,
It's
over.
an
Porta
eyesore.
Can you be
The
a
wind catches
contact
it.
for, to show people? Okay.
Okay, we'll get that done. And we already okayed the DDA for their tug of war.
Yeah.
Any public comment?
Donna Graham on North Shore. I want to comment, it was when we were talking about the sewer increase being effective July 1st. As Ken had said, we have a lot of people here that operate on budget to budget very, very tightly. And I don't know, I didn't hear any conversation about how quickly the notice was gonna go out to people, except for maybe it all of a sudden to appear in their July 1st bill. some way, is there something that prevents us from waiting till till the next quarter billing instead of putting it in July 1st, even though you've approved this already? But, for people like that to have an opportunity to get their budget, this is a substantial increase for some people. You're talking about an extra $10 a month, every quarter. That brings their bill from, what, $60 to $90? And you're gonna tell them in 2 weeks, even though they have 30 days in which to pay this, they still have to find that money and get it in the budget with all these other increases that we're gonna be voting on in August for all other communities around here. I think you rushed that just a little bit too much and you're gonna get a huge backlash in the community for it. And I think you really ought to reconsider that, the timing of when you make that effective.
When did we have, Fleece and Vanderbrink here to give us that,
2 months ago, I think it was.
Yeah, it actually has been in the works for 2 months.
But who's known the dollar amount, who's known about it?
They were going to do an even bigger dollar amount, and anybody that was here or listened to our meetings on YouTube, it was all discussed.
Yeah, but this community not only has a larger, the community of aging, but when that woman was here, she said that this community has a large community of people of poverty. So that community of poverty people are not gonna be able to come up in 30 days with that extra $30. Just putting that out there. And she said that's why that we would get that lower, we would get that, an amount through a different grant or something because of the poverty level in this community. And so you guys aren't even looking at that aspect of this community. So they really need more than 2 weeks for that bill to come out to let that community know. They need a little more than 30 days to come up with that money.
I've come to meetings and I've looked online, and I've watched the videos too, and I've not seen a dollar amount. When,
There wasn't.
did I miss something?
There was a dollar amount discussed.
$49 a month.
Yeah, $49.99 a month, or $49 a month is what they were talking about the increase being.
But it wasn't
many
acted
people-
on.
So many people don't even have internet. Elderly
Exactly.
people, your aging people don't even have internet. My husband refuses to use internet. So he doesn't see that. He doesn't have and people who have internet don't all have Facebook. There's a reality here.
And the people that of poverty in the community lost their internet that they got the subsidy, they lost that back in, what was it, May? So a lot of the poverty community we have might not even have internet since May. So they probably haven't watched the YouTube videos. So just putting it out there.
Just that 2 weeks is awful quick to say, all of a sudden your bill, and they're gonna see the notice in the bill. You're not even talking about sending a notice out like tomorrow to tell you effective July 1. Or are you gonna do that?
Well, that would be the sewer department. Kurt, were you around when it was raised the last time, and what did they do? How'd they do
I think
it?
we just voted on doing it.
Who cares about last time? That was 2001.
2011.
Wondered if they could follow anything.
But we didn't have the
That's right.
increases in 2011 like we've had since the pandemic. We haven't had the inflation in 2011 like we've had. It's a whole different world.
Garrett, unfortunately, your sewer department is also suffering from inflation, and you saw the projections of what happens if you don't start to address it.
And we
It's
are.
unfortunate, but it's something you have to do for the greater good.
Roger, they wanna talk about that, is when somebody throws diapers in it and destroys a pump system, who pays for that? The whole county, or the whole township does, for
Well,
somebody that throws diapers in the sewer.
There's gotta be somebody on the sewer system.
Right, they know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
They know exactly
No, I mean,
what
that
house.
pays for it, Roger,
What
because
area?
that's where those payments come from, where the repairs come from, is the people paying their operation and maintenance.
And another question. On Todd spraying the ditches, does that just last a year, or does it kill brush for 2-3 years down the road, or is it just a one-time hit?
I think the brush is supposed to kill.
'Cause I see it's coming back really fast on the Shinneberger Green all over. And they sprayed it last year.
That's what we have noticed in our thing was before that they're gonna spray this year.
Yeah.
That was.
Sure.
Thank you. Finally, I've been sitting here for a while. Yeah, you know, I just gotta say, this whole beach lease and bar parking situation is really unbelievable. You're paying a year-round lease that one of the board members agreed to terminate, but all of a sudden decided tonight, oh, we need to do that. We're paying for bar parking. How many times and how long does the beach get used out of a year's time? I don't think,
5 to 6 months.
you're not supposed to talk to me,
Oh.
please.
You have a question, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying that, I just see that it's select beneficiaries out of this thing here. I really do. And what's gonna happen next year? What are we gonna do next year? Are we gonna continually pay for bar parking and beach parking? You all agreed last time that we should invest the money into our own stuff, and now you're just going, that's okay, we'll just give it to the bar parkers. We've got 2 more months on this summer. And when you say 5 or 6 months, the beach people are not using it for 5 or 6 months. The beach people, I look at that beach every day out my front porch. The beach people are done Labor Day, unless it's like crazy and it's 90, and it'll be mom and the kids during the week. So I'm really upset that you agreed to do this again. I know that you gave us warning that the lease was wanted to be continued for a year, but I really thought it would be a little bit more discussion on it than that.
I have another concern. What is our resolution for parking? I mean, is it gonna be any different than it is now, a year from now? Where are we gonna put these people that wanna use that beach? Where are we gonna park? I guess that's a question. You know, we're gonna be moving this dirt around the back of the building here. Is there any way we can, you know, have it excavated for 50 parking spots back there? Bring in some gravel or something, firm it up, see what we can do to make parking possible back there.
They can't really answer us during public comment.
It was talked about, Brad.
The farmer's market, you gonna start charging now every week, or how's that gonna go?
The chamber gets the money.
They charge you?
No, if they start charging me, I ain't coming, because I ain't selling them damn wood to even worry about.
I have a question on correspondence with the drain commissioner. What was that about?
Spraying these ditches.
Oh, spraying ditches. Okay. That's all I need.
Kim?
So nothing was actually resolved about the 1 inch, or the
Well,
1.5 horsepower versus the 3 horsepower for the well in the park. So it's just a 1.5 horsepower that's in there when the actual bid was for the 3 horsepower. Is anything gonna happen about getting a 3 horsepower in there?
He said if we did, why didn't you put one in?
Well, we paid for the 3
No,
horsepower.
we didn't.
No.
But the bid was for the 3 horsepower.
No, his bid wasn't.
It was supposed to be, Kim, he bid it incorrectly. He bid it for a lesser horsepower.
But we took the 3-phase, or the 3-horse motor, well, both other people bid on, that price, and added it to Kenny's, and he was still below us.
But he didn't give us what everybody else's bid was.
He did what his bid was, he said if they don't do the job, I'll put a 3-horse in there.
Who's gonna keep track if it's not doing the job?
Oh, we'll have to call him.
But who's gonna keep track that it's not doing the job? So that well is what the irrigation is to keep the grass
Right.
pretty, right?
Right.
Who's keeping track of that?
Our maintenance guys will.
We should have, right? Okay, and I also wanna say that Garrett, the parking for the, bar and your property should have been a contract between you and Devin. but it was
Yeah,
our
you're supposed to talk to us.
it was our well, okay, then I'll tell you. It was our understanding that Garrett would not speak to Devin. And that should have been between Devin and Garrett, not Devin and the township, because that is our money.
I don't know what she's talking about.
Well, of course not, you wouldn't talk to anybody.
Anybody else?
We can speak after the meeting.
I've never spoken to you before.
I know, this is why
Hey,
you were here.
point of order.
Just with the whole parking thing, is there any way to tell, like, if you're paying that money for the parking, does it bring in enough revenue to justify it, or is it a loss? Or is it such a convenience that people are coming to town and spending more money, and you make that money back on revenue off another side? Or is it
Township
just?
can't make any revenue off that.
No, it's.
Us ourselves probably
Are
make no
they,
money, but businesses
but are
are.
they coming, that's what I mean, are they coming in, are they, yes, they're going to the bar, but are they going to the party store and the gas station and the restaurants and to kind of justify it a little bit, or is it just, they're going to the beach and that's it, we're going home and we're not gonna put any money into Bristol? See what I mean?
We would need
Is
metrics to measure that.
No,
We
I
have
know,
none.
but I mean, do they, you know what I mean?
Can I answer that question?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't live in town, so I live out in the country. So I do utilize that, and I do visit other businesses, actually, I've never been to the beach, so I use it for the businesses that I come to town. So that's my personal.
And Sherry saying bar parking, Memorial Weekend, Saturday, there might have been some bar, but that beach was full and it was mostly people parking in that parking lot.
But they have a poker tournament that weekend too. They run bar to donate, get money to help people out.
That was later in the day, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I thought it was early in the morning.
Jeremy?
Regarding the parking, today was a great example of that. That parking lot was full pretty much all day, and I'm pretty sure they weren't, because the beach was very busy today. So it's highly utilized there, and if we didn't have that, and we went to just street parking, that would severely impact businesses like Oliver's Pizza, as well as Ike's Ice Cream Shack, which the only parking you have is street parking. So if we were to fill up both sides of Lake Street going up and down there with beach users, we might as well just shut the doors, because if people can't park there, they're not gonna come to the businesses and frequent them. So it really is kind of a necessity. Hopefully, at some point in the future, we can address the parking further. I know there's been some discussion about getting some parking that's convenient and close to the park and to the beach, and that's definitely on our list at the DDA to try and push that forward.
Well, if that's part of the argument, why doesn't the DDA or the business owners chip in for this? They're benefiting, and that's a big argument, so, this is, in my opinion, BS. This is not a proper use of our taxpayer money. It's not. Are you gonna get in writing this change of horsepower and he'll change it out if it blows up? You were asked last month or 2 months ago to get stuff in writing. It's not been provided. We had a road issue a long time ago that was supposed to be fixed. No one ever got it in writing, and the township got screwed on it.
Where's that at?
Sunset.
That's been talked about multiple times.
The one on the hill?
Yep.
That's the name of that street, yep.
And the county kept doing things with it. That ain't our problem here.
Okay,
Don't look at me.
but that's one thing you said at a meeting a couple years ago, that they were, or it was Chris Johnson, they were supposed to come back and fix it. We never got it in writing. Where's our logbook for the roof and the warranty?
They're keeping it.
Who?
They're janitors.
Okay, it's been asked to be provided to look at, never has been.
It's in the office. Catch
Okay,
the
cool,
janitors,
I'll come
ask
check it
them.
out.
Kim?
So we have a beach that we're running from Garrett, but yet there are boats that is at the beach frontage that kids that come here can't even utilize that beach because the boats are now over there at that beachfront that us taxpayers are paying this gentleman for. I will keep track of the dates when those boats are out there now.
Township ordinances online.
They are not online yet. We talked about it last month and I said, wait a minute, I think the cart's before the horse because we need enforcement. Remember that discussion?
Yep.
When we went into does it gotta go to court? Yeah, that was what I asked during trustee time, was did we all look at ordinances and how we wanna do enforcement, and
How can I
You
get
did
a
shit
copy
about
of the township ordinance?
they're in Patty's office or in Kurt's office over here, or there's also a copy at the library.
Is it an up-to-date copy?
Don't know.
I don't know, don't go to the library. I've always heard that one's ancient.
Huh. That's funny, that's where Sarah got sent when she asked for it.
A lot of people did back in the day. I would.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that at the March meeting, or whenever it was that you voted to terminate the lease, one of the good arguments was, well, didn't want to pay for the bar for them parking. And I think Devin heard that, and I discussed it with him. I think he's offered to pay almost 2/3 of the cost. And in response to a question, how much does the public use it, how long? I see them out there they're out there from at least May, and they'll be out there in September. I mean, it's a public service, just like I don't use leaf pickup, and I don't believe I should be subsidizing you guys getting free leaf pickup, but you do, and you spend thousands of dollars of township money for a select few people who don't wanna put their leaves in a bag. So, I mean, there's a lot of examples of things that are even more unequitable than providing the public with some parking.
For a seasonal town.
Anybody else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Lee, second by Nancy to adjourn at 9:45.
Hey,